something slick, Ric Flair?
Rest in peace.
Scotland. He also knows how to be cool. Hot rod comes from the
Family, my friends, my country.
There are complications. Factors, elements, combustible elements, namely...
Who are these people?
Tell you something, brother.
Who are these people?
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Don't be rude.
Who are these people?
Like, I can't get over that. Don't be rude.
Don't be rude.
Alright, welcome to this episode of Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm the host, Angel Rivera, alongside my co-host over here, whatever, Miss Witchy Perfection. Never, yeah, there you go. I keep doing this because it's reversed, but, well, what are you doing?
I'm doing good. Like I said, got a new office, so I can officially do these shows in the official capacity. I still have a background because I wanted to show off one of my newest collages that I did the other day. Excuse me. If it doesn't work, please let me know. I'll turn it off, and you get to see that my new office, what it looks like in the background. But yeah, I'm ready to go. Put my new desk together and got a new office. So
Nice. CBC voter, thank you very much. Hope you're having a great Saturday too.
Yep.
So yeah,
Let's jump right in.
I managed to fix this arm, as everybody knows, during the week.
Yeah, the jerry rig it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was late. I was late last week for that reason, and just couldn't get it together. And turns out that the clamp had a broken piece of metal sticking out of it. So I used my little Swiss Army knife here to
Aren't
fix
they
it.
nice for everything? They're like fix it in a little container.
Yeah, that's why. I think I mostly use this, the Phillips head, and I just pushed it around, just pushed it in enough where I could stick the arm back into the clamp, and there we go, and it worked. Like, oh wow, because I nearly threw it out because I was so angry on last Saturday that
Hmm.
like I just nearly threw it out. And it's the cheapest one, so it wasn't like it's $10, but still I needed it. So this is so cheap that it gave me one of these anti-static
Oh,
things,
yeah, anti-static things.
but it won't fit my mic.
Too small.
Yeah, it's like for those traditional microphones, like the ones that are round like this. So I don't know what to do with this, but it's too small. And anyways, there's a mute button right there, so I can do.
And now we can't hear you.
Yeah, so I need that open, so that's why I won't put a anti-static thing on it, even if I wanted to. So yeah, that's fixed finally.
Well, you're not scratchy. I don't hear any scratching or nothing. Hi,
I
CBC.
So allegedly this has a internal pop filter. So even if I did this, you shouldn't be able to hear it. But man, you other people said that I've heard popping when I'm editing and uploading clips. So it's like, oh, it's not supposed to pop.
Mm-mm.
That's why I don't really do this anymore, even though I have a habit of doing that.
Oh, we all do it. That's why mine's sort of in my face, but not in my face. Oops. Because mine keeps getting like scratchy. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it keeps getting like scratchy. Like I'm like, ew.
yeah, it makes no sense. So yeah, I mean, what did I put? Oh yeah, Um, I'm not sure if you've seen the clip of Hulk Hogan's alleged racist comments against Kamala Harris.
I didn't see the clip, but I saw people reacting to it. I didn't even know what he said. I was just like, "Uh-oh, Hogan in trouble again.
Uh,
Here we
I
go."
would play it, but the issue is it's a TMC video, and I tried playing a TMZ video once on my channel, and like that, I got a copyright strike. Like that,
Okay, so
I
maybe we should
didn't
wait to
even
Rumble.
I didn't even upload it. It was like I did upload it,
Okay.
but I didn't it didn't go. Excuse me, didn't go live yet. I just had it there, for a premiere. I think it was the last time Jeff Hardy got arrested for DUI.
Oh, geez.
That was a couple of years ago. I don't think he's been arrested since, but I tried reacting to it and
No, isn't he
I
in
did it.
rehab? What?
I
Maybe not.
So he's still under. I think he's still under contract to AEW, or it expired. No, it expired, and Tony didn't renew it, which is shocking. But so him and Matt especially is like, oh, let us have one more run in WWE, Triple H. I mean, you won't regret it.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like,
Didn't
yeah,
Matt Hardy like make it his, you know, his plight to take make fun of or put down WWE every chance he got, or at least
yes,
to
right,
build up AEW and
yeah.
AEW. I mean,
It was in AEW, especially. I think now
yeah,
Matt Hardy's in TNA. He has a run there.
yeah, he's having
He's
it
back to that broken
because
Matt Hardy gimmick.
yeah, because no one wants to deal with him. All right, I'm gonna
Yeah,
put you up around here.
Jeff Hardy's out of wrestling, so
Pretty
as far as
much.
I know, he's not really working anymore. ATL, I mean, glad you're tipsy because I
Because we
drank
got a
most of it.
long road to hoe.
Yeah. I mean, we have so yeah, I would play the clip, but TMZ has it, they whenever they buy footage, it's like exclusive. So I could listen to it and tell everybody exactly what he said. Oh, I don't think I saved it. I should have my
You can
bookmarks,
just
but
do the audio.
I don't. We could, but I don't really know. Oops. I've never actually done just audio on Restream. I don't know how to do it. So let's see, because it says TMZ Sports here, like it's right. All right, so let me see.
Hey, Earl of
Oh,
Earl.
hey Earl. Thank you for joining us too. If you haven't, please give us a like. for the stream. Let's see, window. No, entire screen. Also share system audio. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just do it like that. So I'm just gonna have to listen to it. You want me to body slam to Kamala Harris?
Yeah, he said something like he wanted to body slam her, give her the leg.
Yeah, and want me to
And
drop the leg on Kamala. Is she Indian?
yeah, is she Indian?
Then
And then,
followed
it's
by
supposed to be like
racist
a joke.
slur. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me see what racist slur it was. Is Kamala a chameleon? Let's see. Is she Indian?
I don't think anything was really racist. I think people
Well,
were just saying that because they want to
well,
say it.
he did say how, like how,
Yeah, like
and he
how,
said,
like an Indian how, like a
yeah.
Native
Then he said,
American
well,
how.
well, I'm gonna get in trouble for that, brother. And start
Because you can't
laughing.
tell the difference between people in India and Native Americans.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get in trouble for that one, brother.
You don't say, Hogan. Now you're the talk of the town.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
guys
just
say stupid stuff in bars all the time.
yeah. This was at a bar. Uh, yeah, it's just it's all it wasn't even that big of a deal. I mean, it was
I mean, doesn't
standard
she
Hogan.
claim to be Indian? I mean, from
Uh,
India, but not,
earlier earlier in her political career, she was Indian.
yeah.
In fact, there were articles in the media. The first Indian American senator elect or person elected to the Senate. Now all of a sudden, now that never happened. Now all of a sudden, she's black, and she's gonna be the first black female president if she wins. So and then now calling her Indian is now racist, apparently, even though the media themselves talked about how she was Indian, and she herself said she was Indian.
Right. I think this just goes to show how stupid Hogan is that he doesn't know the difference between a Native American and a person from India.
Yeah. Oops.
Really,
Hey,
that's the only difference I see.
Cowboy
Hey,
Kitty
Cowboy
is
Kitty.
here. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, so it I didn't. It's ridiculous. Hogan. It's not really racist. It's just stupid. It's like now allegedly it's some people are saying, well, Hogan was violent. And it said violent rhetoric. It's like no, he said body slam leg drop. That's what he
Yeah,
used to
I
do.
mean, if he had said, "I'm going to hurt her on this day. I'm going to do this at this time," that's a threat. This is just, I want to get her in the ring and body slam her.
And
Guys, that's
Hogan,
not a threat.
that was just a promo. I mean, he
It
can't.
was. It was.
He's always been a wrestler. He always be a wrestler. I mean, he's that's what he does. He
And I
can't.
said to my man, I said, exactly what do they have on Hogan? Why did he? I mean, he made fun of Trump. Now he's with Trump. So I'm a little confused. Like, what do they have on him?
I don't know. It's just because it's just a standard Hogan promo. That's why it's brother, 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 drop a leg, body slam, etc., etc. It wasn't the only thing different was the how, and he did
Yeah,
this.
I was like, are you stupid?
I mean, it wasn't too bright, but that's whatever. So yeah, we're live on Twitter. We're live on the INN Twitter page because now you can't go live unless you have that blue check mark, which you got to pay for,
Of
which I'm
course.
not paying for.
Yeah,
So,
I wouldn't pay for it either, just for them
which
to
I can't.
censor us.
Yeah, which I can't go live on my Twitter page, but the INN Twitter page, we're live. We're live in Kick. We're live in Rumble. We're live in Twitch. We're live. We're all over the place,
We're all
basically.
over the place, guys. Hit the likes wherever you are
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and follow us.
Yeah. Because
The
the
Hogan
follow.
thing was just embarrassing, and I had just seen it. I didn't even know what he said, really. I just saw that on X, and I was like, Angel, you gotta check this out.
Yeah.
I immediately thought Angel needs to check this out. That's my go-to.
Yeah,
I know.
because
I do know that. Yeah, Hogan has so many skeletons. I get that, Alex. It's just,
yeah,
unfortunately, Hogan is just not smart enough to. I want to know what they have on him because he endorsed Trump. Now he made fun of Trump. Now he's endorsing him. So I want to know what they have on him. It's the same question I asked about Jesse, because Jesse endorsed Walls and Harris. And Jesse would never do that. Not like 10 years ago, 10,
yeah.
15 years ago. So I want to know, did they threaten Teresa? Did they threaten Tyrell? Who did they threaten? Because Jesse would never say this stuff on purpose. He was
No,
all, anti, he would call the Republicans, and the Democrats, the Democrats.
yeah,
So Jesse didn't like any party.
yeah. In fact, I have that book. It's
I have
laying
it too, and I
somewhere
read
around
it.
here.
It was
Yeah, I
good.
read it too. And I'm like, this can't be the same man who wrote that book and knows better. That's like the worst part. He knows better.
Yeah, he
And
does.
he wrote that entire book and changed my perspective on the parties.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it's just absurd that now all of a sudden he's doing this stuff. And what's worse is he's going on like these shit lib Vanguard, and he went on Crystal Kyle and Friends
Hmm.
on Friday yesterday.
Yeah.
They did a they did a stream, and actually they probably recorded this last week or something, but it actually premiered yesterday,
Yeah,
and
you
there's
broke my
clips.
heart, Fredo. You broke my heart.
He went on Crystal Kyle and Friends and spent 20 minutes defending Tim Walz and talking about how great he is.
Oh,
I'm
you
like,
gotta be kidding me. Oh,
he did. I watched most of the video. I'm like he's using and here's and Kyle when he was talking
Jesse
like
moves
literally he's smiling, and
her.
he's like nodding his head like, yeah, Jesse, keep going. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so and he went for like 20 minutes defending Tim Walz. It was bad. So yeah, this Jesse is no longer the man who we thought he was. I don't know why. Like he could be threatened or.
Yeah, I say they have something on him.
Uh,
I don't know what it is. I do know his wife, Teresa, would
mm-hmm.
suffer from seizures, and she was taking a substance. She was taking that substance
Yeah.
to help her not have those seizures anymore. Because he relayed to Clubhouse people who, that's where I interviewed him a couple times.
Yeah.
He just said, it's really heartbreaking to see the person you love more than this world think this is the last time you're ever going to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that broke my heart too. I mean, poor Jesse had to, go through that. And, kudos to him for finding some kind of, I mean, they had her on everything big pharma related. Nothing was taking those seizures away. And they tried this other substance and she hasn't had a seizure since.
Yeah. I
But it's
mean,
illegal in some states. And he said it was very expensive at one point.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
They could threaten her to put her in jail because she was taking this substance that they don't like it because it's the, sorry to keep interrupting, but it's literally to the tobacco and alcohol industry, it's their rival. So of course they're going to keep this substance completely illegal so that they don't have to have a competition, because everyone knows if this was legal, there would be no competition. You wouldn't be on tobacco and alcohol. The tobacco and alcohol industry would lose their shirts. Well, they can't have that, so they keep this certain substance, even if it's medical, they keep it illegal. And I think because he had a whole book about it, he had a manifesto about it. In fact, I downloaded the audiobook the other day because I didn't read that book and I'm not going to have time to read it. So I was like, heck, I'll just get the audiobook. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I really just think that it has to do with Teresa. Unfortunately, she just developed these seizures, and this is the only thing that'll take them away. And I think they threatened to put her in jail. I agree, Alex.
Yeah. Well, right now marijuana is legal in 38 states in one way or another.
Yeah.
So it's 38 states, 24 of them has it fully legal. Like you can, it's recreationally or for medical purposes. So, and there's another
But the
four,
federal overrides the state. So, I
yes,
mean, at any time they can go in there and raid it and
yes.
say, "Oh, well, we're
And
going to put her in jail because she takes the substance and it's cannabis. She
yeah,
takes
it
cannabis."
depends. It depends who's in the who's in charge of the White House.
Mhm.
Because right now Joe Biden's not really enforcing the marijuana laws, the
Right.
anti-marijuana laws.
But I think
So,
that because the rich people, the elites, they love to. I mean, look at what they did with RFK Jr. He totally, completely sold out.
mhm,
His parents or his dad would be rolling over in his grave of what's happened with him.
yeah,
And the
and
Democratic Party. I agree with Jimmy on that. It's just he was saying, oh well, his dad would be rolling over his grave. Yeah, for both. You
uh,
know, hey TL,
so
it's Jesse Ventura. Jesse
yes,
Ventura.
Jesse the Body Ventura. You look him up, you'll remember him if you watch wrestling back in the 80s.
Even the
So
90s, he was a commentator.
yeah, in the 90s he did a lot. He did some wrestling stuff too, but only 6 states has marijuana fully illegal one way or another.
Mhm.
So looks like it's South Carolina, uh, Oklahoma. No, Oklahoma is even legal. I mean, now in most states it's legal for medical or or for recreational or both. So in Pennsylvania, it's mixed, whatever that means. I don't understand what that means. It says fully legal, fully illegal, or mixed. So I don't understand what mix is. I guess it's some medical and some recreational, or I don't know.
But still, the threat of federal prosecution could have scared Jesse enough to the point of, the elites will do anything. The rich
Yeah,
elite will do anything to blackmail everybody. Look at Jeffrey Epstein and why they will never release his client list. Because I bet you very prominent names, I'm pretty sure all the rich names will be on there. Everybody
yeah.
who's rich will be on there.
Oh, definitely.
Um, so um, I, it broke my heart. I understand, Jesse, that you're probably being threatened, but this, I mean, you broke my heart, Fredo. I don't know how to.
Yeah,
Every time I think about it, I literally want to cry because Jesse was such a hero of mine, and I can't believe he would do this.
well, I mean,
Hogan,
and
I'm pretty sure he has a lot of things they could blackmail him on.
oh
Um,
yeah,
so they probably did. Trump probably said, I can get you 10 ways to Sunday, Hogan. So you better just come out and endorse me. And Hogan went, okay, brother.
yeah. Hogan so much. I mean, we don't know what he's done that never got the light of day. So yeah, so it's easy to get him just surprised that Jesse turned into what he is today, and it honestly started with the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and it devolved from there. I mean, he devolved from there. So
Well, and then the January 6th, he still says people invaded his capital.
oh right, yeah,
Oh,
and
come on,
then he
Jesse.
mentioned January 6th on that clip I saw of Crystal and Kyle, like January 6th. I can't really do his accent. He has a really unique one, but January 6th was, was a coup attempt or whatever. I mean, he uses the standard Democrat talking points on that for
Mm-hmm.
January 6th. And I'm like, then he went to defend Tim Walz, like, well, I mean, come on. He's a hero. He served in the military. And I'm not sure if he personally knows Tim Walz and that's why he's defending him. He's doing over the top defense, or because he
No,
talked about it when he was governor. When he was
yeah.
governor, Tim Walz served under him in the National Guard. So
Well, the thing is, like, you have to understand that Jesse, he won because he was independent. He didn't win
yeah,
because he was a Democrat or Republican. The de-
yeah,
he said that he actually got the Democrats and Republicans to get embedded with each other and to get him out. They tried to get him out of office, And they did. Jesse never went for re-election because he knew he would win. They knew he would win. So they said, well, we'll just do a bunch of stuff and get you out of here. Then when he was out, I mean,
Oh, it's another thing he
praise be
mentioned
damned.
right after that in that 20-minute clip. He's like, "Oh, well, when I left office, I was a hot commodity. So MSNBC, CNN, and Fox were all bidding on me to get me to sign with them."
Right, and Fox got the contract, but Jesse was also anti-Iraq war.
It was MSNBC that got him, but
Oh, MSNBC, excuse me.
yeah. So
He
he
says
signed with
Fox
MS.
News, so maybe that
Yeah.
was bad.
So he signed with MSNBC, and the show never aired. It never made air
So
because
there's
they never.
millions he's ever made.
Yeah,
And
it was
he
it
literally got
never.
sent home.
They canceled the show and never
Yep,
used him. Basically, he
yep,
sat home for like 3 years, and they paid him
yep.
off on his contract.
They paid
I'm
it
like,
his full contract, but
yeah.
he did not once did he end up in that with that show.
No, they
And
never aired it, never debuted it or
right,
anything.
and it was because he was anti-war. He was anti
Yeah,
the Iraq war. On
yeah,
Fox News, he made a soldier who was all butthurt and believed the propaganda. He made a soldier actually walk off, or no, it was not a soldier. It was it was literally a Fox News contributor. Literally got upset with
yeah,
him because he was telling the truth about 9/11 and the Iraq War, and this guy got so upset with him, just walked right off the stage. Now that
yeah.
could have been just a storyline in itself, but it's still it's kind of sad how he was such a rebel in his day and did so. He actually, I've talked to several people who were, they were in Minnesota when he was governor and said, "Oh yeah, my parents had so much money because of Jesse. They actually gave them a rebate and gave them their money back because they had a
Yeah,
surplus under
yeah.
Jesse."
The whole surplus thing. Yeah, he said,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm not gonna." So we, the budget was complete, and we paid for everything. We had extra money, so I just gave it back to the people in a rebate.
Right.
So everybody got a check in Minnesota for a
Everybody
certain
in
amount.
Minnesota got a check, and that's where he said the Democrats and Republicans got in bed together to get
To,
that to stop happening.
yeah, to get him out
Mm-hmm.
because he was traditional fiscal.
Jesse refused to put it in his own pockets and line his own pockets with it.
Yeah, because it was like, oh shit, he's actually because usually what they would do with the surpluses is they would do pork barrel projects, they were called,
Mhm.
and they would give the money to their buddies,
Right.
their political favors. So,
Yep.
okay, I'll give you this pork barrel contract, which is meaningless, but in exchange, you got to donate money to me and vote and support me and promote my reelection bid.
Right.
Jesse didn't allow that. He gave the money back. So I was like, oh shit, we can't let him we
We
can't let
can't
him
have
run
this. We
again.
can't have
Yeah.
poor people having money. God forbid that
So
would happen.
yeah, so he would have won. I don't. To this day, he's like, oh, I know I would have won if I ran again. Like,
He
then why
literally,
didn't you?
yeah, he would have won and kept winning, and the
Yeah,
Republicans and Democrats couldn't have that.
yeah. So he should have just ran for reelection. For whatever reason, he didn't. And
This is pro wrestling, Max. It's about Jesse Ventura.
yeah,
He was a wrestler. He was also a commentator. But yeah, he really broke my heart when he endorsed, Tim Walz. And I'm not going to say Kamala because I don't want to disrespect the wrestler Kamala. There was a wrestler named Kamala. Look it up. For all those in the
yeah,
audience who don't know who Kamala is. I respect that dude way too much, and he was a black dude. And I thought he was great. I thought he was funny, especially in those Mean Gene. Like, what's this about you? Some shit missing some promos. He's like, I was in the hotel doing the bongo bongo bongo. I'm like, okay, stop. But yeah, I won't say Kamala because I don't want to disrespect. It's not because I'm afraid that Kamala is a hate crime. So if I reference the wrestler, that's somehow a hate crime now.
yeah. It's like Kamala, not Kamala. But a lot of people say Kamala. Like the wrestler, and it's like they in the convention they did a cringe thing, to teach people how to pronounce her name properly
Yeah, that was so corny. Those two
with,
little
with her
girls
with
like
her
that.
nieces, with Kamala Harris's nieces, on
That
stage.
was
I
so
was like,
corny.
I covered that on yesterday. It's like, oh, it's like they did it in the cringiest way possible, using her nieces, and it's like,
Yeah.
the whole convention was a ridiculous, masturbatory coronation. Because Kamala never got a single vote. I mean, neither time she ran. So
Mhm.
somehow she's a nominee, and we all have to fawn over her. I mean, but I digress. It's not
Nobody even
my
voted for her. She was
um.
just literally crowned the queen. I'm like,
Yeah, that's why
yeah,
yeah,
that's why we're not a democracy, guys. That's why democracy's not on the ballot, guys, because we're not even a constitutional republic. We're literally a fascist oligarchy. That's what we are.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, let's try to get into wrestling here a little bit. Did you hear about Ricochet signing with AEW allegedly?
I did see that, and I wanted to get you on that because I saw it on X. I was like, oh shoot, I did see that. Yeah.
So yeah, he signed, allegedly, a long-term contract. So, and Tony loves his long-term contracts.
Here we go. Is that
Yeah,
him right there with the TNT belt?
yeah. So this is a made-up picture.
Okay.
This is Everybody's All Elite, which is a joke, but this is Alfred on Konowa. He has a YouTube channel. He does good wrestling content.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like, let's see. It says, it's still too
I agree,
small.
Alex. An unconstitutional oligarchy. I like that. Um, my thoughts is if Ricochet will be happier, I'm sure he will be very, very happy in WWE because they will at least do something with him. They will give him good storylines. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. Like they did with. Um, well, have we even seen Stephanie Valor yet?
No, she has visa issues, so she hasn't debuted in NXT yet.
Okay. Um, I'm sure they'll do very good things with Ricochet. I think he needs to add a little meat to them bones, but I mean, because if that's him, oh boy, doesn't look like the conventional wrestler, does he?
No,
Doesn't look like this kind of a wrestler right here, who's all muscled up and stuff.
yeah,
But that was just
I
Curt.
mean, he's small. Yeah, and so he's allegedly signed a long-term deal, which Tony Khan loves those 5-6 year contracts that he gives to wrestlers, because usually the standard contract in WWE is 3 years. So,
Mm-hmm.
but he locks them down for years upon years, with no way out. So that's why it's like, unless I would, it's just too much to me. So he signed allegedly, and he's supposed to be debuting at All In tomorrow afternoon, whatever,
Well,
because in
that
the
would be a
UK.
kick in
So
the ass, wouldn't it?
yeah, so he's debuting allegedly tomorrow afternoon in All In London. So he's going. Then my guess is he's gonna have the match with Will Ospreay that everybody masturbates to in the internet. The 2017 match, the flippy around match that they had. Everybody 10 stars, greatest match ever. That match in 2017, before Ricochet went to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna, Ricochet's gonna win that international title, whatever, and then Ricochet probably debut, and they'll have their confrontation and lead to that match at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then after that feud is done, Tony Khan will do nothing with Ricochet, like he does to every WWE guy at
Yeah,
this
and,
time.
and no offense, but it's just we see how ACW, sorry, AEW is kind of circling the drain. As you were saying last week, they're kind of circling the drain, and no one knows if they're going to be pulled out. But their ratings, even like last week, were just in the tank. I mean,
And
this is worse than WCW at the point when they went out of business.
Eric Bischoff made that joke, and then on his podcast, he's like, "Oh hell, WCW in 2000 had much higher ratings than AEW, even though I thought it sucked."
I
WCW
mean,
in
it really did.
2000.
It really did, especially when
Mm-hmm.
Russo took over and they made David Arquette the fucking, champion. Well,
Yeah,
so actors can be wrestlers now. Oh, I'd love to see David Arquette actually wrestle somebody instead of just do that. Whatever the hell he did in that match.
Yeah, so he signed long term, and good luck to him because he's gonna have a match with Osprey and then never be used again. Because look at what happened to Miro and what other WWE talent they have and do nothing with. There's so many of them.
Well, and Brian Last said, I think he's still under contract with AEW, in fact.
Miro, yeah, I'm sure he
Yeah.
went back to
He went back
Bulgaria,
to Bulgaria.
and Tony's sending him a check every 2 weeks or whenever he pays his wrestler. So, and I'm like, yeah, it's like WCW. They don't use guys and just send them a check. Just to so they don't go to WWE. Because I guarantee you, if when that's his name in WWE, Miro's contract is up, he's probably going to run back to WWE, and he's going to have a good run there whenever he's able to get back. I don't know how many years he has left in that contract, but
Right.
because Vince McMahon fired him, I think, and it was during the pandemic, I think, when they were doing all those cuts. So he was fired then. He went to AEW, and nobody knew everybody signed long term contracts, figuring Vince would be there forever.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that a couple of years after that, he's forced out, and now everybody wants to go back to WWE because Triple H is in charge, and everybody loves Triple H now. They call him Papa H. So it's like
Papa H, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. I wouldn't go that far, but Triple H is Triple H. What can you say?
A lot of the younger talent like love him because he was in charge in NXT, so he used everybody well.
Well, now they have Shawn Michaels in charge of NXT.
And honestly, NXT it's really good overall, that show. I mean, it's not bad, it's so WWE right now is, I can't say that any show is bad. Well, to be fair, SmackDown is pretty bad. And it's not because anything WWE does, it's Fox. If you watch SmackDown Live, you see every few seconds there's a black screen or they're muting it for minutes at a time because the fans are, they're saying fuck you Solo. So since Fox is broadcast television, and since Fox is a broadcast television now, they air over broadcast, so they have different rules, and they don't want to get fined. So
right
by the FCC, so it's like, oh, black screen, because especially when they get the middle fingers, they have to do black screens and muting. They butcher SmackDown. It's really a watchable show right now. You can barely watch it.
Yeah.
So luckily, in a couple of weeks, SmackDown's going to USA because the contract with Fox expires, I think, in about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So SmackDown goes back to USA. Too. So starting September 13th, I think SmackDown.
Are they going back to Thursday, or is it still going to be Friday?
I assume it's going to be Friday. I have not heard much of anything on a date change because Raw's going to Netflix in January, and there's discussion of a date change. Raw might, instead of airing Monday, might go to Tuesday or Wednesday or something.
No! Stop changing it! It was already Thursday SmackDown, they went to Friday. Now they're going to change Raw?
Yeah, there's discussions about that because they don't want to compete Monday Night Football because football season's coming up, so...
Well, yeah, but I mean, football is like WWE now. I mean, all you have to do is pay the highest bidder, and okay, your team's going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Alex says AEW should have pushed Miro into the main event scene. Well, obviously.
I mean, I agree with that, but
Tony doesn't like the big guys. He likes
he likes the small guys for some reason.
He likes the Will Ospreys. He likes the Orange Cassidys. He likes Ricochet is his ideal wrestler. So Bryan Danielson, even though
the
Bryan
opposite
Danielson,
of Vince. Vince wanted the big guys, so he's the opposite of Vince.
Because the big guys draw for the most part. I mean, wrestling is supposed to be like an over-the-top circus, an over-the-top carny, like in carnivals. Those guys, the original carny wrestlers were huge. They weren't tiny.
Right. Well, I
so
totally
wrestling
get
is.
that. But I mean, the big guys, no one would believe that if you were a big buff guy, no one is going to believe that a small little wrestler or a small little fan or whatever is going to come and kick your ass. It's not believable. So, I mean, the bigger guys they had their limits because no one's going to say, like, for example, Curt was athletic. I mean, he was athletic. He wasn't like a bodybuilder, but no one would believe that like a wrestler like him could get in there with the Ultimate Warrior and beat the shit out of him, which Curt could do. Trust me, Curt
They
could definitely get in there with the Ultimate Warrior and beat the shit out of him.
You could do that match, which I'm not. Did Curt ever wrestle Warrior? I don't remember seeing that match.
Yes,
Oh,
but
they
he
did?
never won a match with the Ultimate Warrior. No,
No, of course not. I mean,
but he was jumping around making Warrior look like $1 million bucks. If he was getting his thumb up.
he would have to bump around for him because Warrior couldn't do much else. He just stood there like a statue.
That's right.
So yeah, Hogan was more athletic and better in the ring, but Warrior was just like, I don't sell, I don't do anything. I just just bump for me.
And I mean, he hurt Bobby Heenan. He literally dropped Heenan on his neck.
He broke his neck, and Bobby had to sit there for years with a broken neck until he got to WCW and had the surgery when he got there because they gave him health insurance because he was an employee.
Right.
So
just like Jim Burnett was saying, how I mean, unless you were an employee there, you didn't get benefits. The wrestlers didn't get benefits because they were contractors. Yeah,
they would have never. No, he would never.
And these are the people that needed the most care. They needed the most care because they were in the ones putting their bodies on the line for entertainment.
Yeah, and Vince didn't. The Jesse story. He tried to unionize wrestling right before WrestleMania 2, and Hogan snitched on him to Vince, and Vince put the kibosh on that quickly.
I heard someone say the other day, "Well, Jesse really hates Hogan."
Well, yeah,
I don't think this has anything to do with Hogan. Him turning out to be a shill for the establishment, I don't. It has less to do with Hogan and more to do with the fact that I think he was threatened. But sure, if you want to make it like a storyline, okay, so Jesse hates Hogan because he ratted him out in, 84.
It was 87. WrestleMania 2 was 87, wasn't it? Okay. No, 86. No, 86.
Okay.
Because WrestleMania 1 was in 85, so 87 WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, let's see. So yeah, I mean, and by the way, Tony Khan, why have you turned your wrestlers into employers? I specifically remember when AEW first launched, he promised to take care of the wrestlers, give them health insurance, make them into employees. The only employees in AEW are the EVPs, those morons. So they're the only employees AEW had. The rest of them are independent contractors still.
Which is funny you say that because Chris Jericho was on Jesse's show, which is The World According to Jesse, before the whole Russian thing, which was dumb in the first place.
In the RT show, yeah.
He was on Jesse's show, and Jesse asked him, "Are the wrestlers employees? Because you'll pull more people from Vince, and you'll take Vince down." And Jericho didn't answer the question because he couldn't.
No, because they weren't employees; they were independent contractors. The only only people that are employees were the EVPs, morons. Except for Cody. Cody was also EVP, so he was an employee, but everybody else were still independent contractors.
Yeah, but that man put his body on the line for practically nothing.
No, I mean, apparently Cody had issues with the arrest of the Elite, which is why it drove him to leave AEW. So, those morons. I don't blame Cody for leaving. I mean, it's like, this is not what we promised people. This is just indie garbage for the most part. He was the only one who took it seriously. The rest of the guys were like indie garbage wrestlers. They wanted to do their garbage matches.
Right. And they even set Cody on fire, for heaven's sake.
In that match with Andrade, who also in WWE, ironically. So it's like the match with Andrade, he set himself on fire for the company. And
who's Andrade in WWE?
Andrade, it's the same name. He's the
Is he in NXT?
He's Charlotte Flair's wife. He's on SmackDown right now. He's Charlotte Flair's wife. I just said that. He's Charlotte Flair's wife.
Husband.
I just said that. Husband, yeah. I didn't even realize I said it until a minute later. Wait, did I just say Charlotte Flair's wife? I meant to say husband. But,
well, yeah, but isn't it funny that WWE wrestlers seem to be marrying AEW wrestlers? Isn't that kind of...
Yeah. It's Rhea Ripley's married to... why am I forgetting his name?
Brandon something or
He's
other.
he's in the House of Black. So I'm trying to
House
think.
of Black.
Yeah, so I forget his name right now. He was Murphy in WWE. Buddy Matthews, that's it.
Oh, Buddy, not
Yeah,
Brandon. I keep thinking
yeah,
Brandon.
he was Murphy in WWE, so that's why Buddy Murphy. Then eventually they shortened it to Murphy, and then he's now Buddy Matthews in AEW. So let's see. Let's get back to this. Imagine building AEW around Miro, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, and that should be your pillars, not MJF and Orange Cassidy or whatever. The other guy. Why am I forgetting your names? They're tiny, anyways.
Oh,
It was MJF, Sammy
okay.
Guevara. Uh, was it Jungle Jack too? It was. I don't remember right
Jungle
now.
Jack Perry.
Tony had like four like top wrestlers. They were the pillars. So yeah, garbage. So yeah, imagine building around those three. Not even I don't know about a fourth one, but building around those three, AW in much better shape because they're bigger. They're the airport principle. Vince loved this. It's like if you get noticed in an airport, then you're going to be over in wrestling because people are like, "Oh, look at that big guy." So yeah, so it's the airport principle, and I guarantee you, if AW guys walk to the airport, they're like, no, they don't even look at him twice because like normal person.
Mhm.
So let's see, Alex, Jack Perry and Darby Allen. Okay, those were like Darby Allen's an idiot. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you employ him.
The only one who I know who could go through a plate glass window of real glass and finish a match with your back
He's an
all cut
idiot.
up and looks like an idiot.
They were like, I remember WWE had some interest in him, but it's like, what is he gonna do? Because he can't do the shit he does in AEW. So it's like you're paying him to do what exactly? To change up his gimmick and work a normal style? That's not gonna happen because he doesn't want to work that style. In
Kevin, I
fact,
don't know if sorry, hang on one second. I don't know if Brian Pillman, I'm sure everyone knew about his neck injury.
oh yeah, yeah,
I think that everyone knew about it, but I think because Pillman was trying to keep his kayfabe up, you know, that's why he went over and sort
I
of
think
messed
we
with
mentioned this last week when
Bobby.
Kevin
Yeah.
Sullivan died. We mentioned this last week when Kevin Sullivan died. We
Hmm.
talked about that. Yeah, it was at a Clash. He had a match with think I forget who right now, but I said it last week. And he went over to Bobby and kind of like grabbed this and tried to hide from his opponent. And Bobby was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And literally just walked off and went backstage as a shoot. It wasn't even because he was doing his loose cannon gimmick, so he was doing
Right.
whatever. Nobody knew what he would do.
What he would do, but I think Pillman, he knew that Bobby had had surgery, and it just kind of caught Bobby off guard. I mean, I think
Yeah,
Pillman went to him and apologized, but
yeah.
uh,
He
Pillman
grabbed
was
him by
just
the
trying to.
shoulders.
Yeah,
It wasn't
I
like he
mean, he
grabbed his
grabbed
neck.
him. It's not like he
But he
went like
just had
that.
neck surgery. He just
Yeah,
had neck surgery, so he
yeah,
was sensitive about his anywhere grabbing him like that. So
right.
if he were told, "Hey Bobby, can I grab you like hide behind you and grab you by the shoulders?" I'll be careful. I'm sure he would have said
Mm.
yes, but just watch my neck. But he
No
didn't tell
offense,
him.
Kevin, but I mean, I wasn't much for ECW, and there's a reason why ECW didn't work out. People just got
Alan is
tired
like
of it, you know.
Alan's like Sabu or New Jack crazy. Yes, he is, but Sabu and New Jack were actually over. They drew money for ECW. And Darby Allen isn't really over. He doesn't draw anything.
He's just like a skateboarder guy that nobody knows what he's actually about.
And
I'm
he
sorry, you were saying.
spent 2 or 3 years with Sting, did nothing because they were just a tag team the entire time. They did nothing. I thought that maybe they would turn Darby against Sting and they would have a match and Sting would put him over. But no, that didn't
Sting
happen.
didn't
They
put
were just
anybody
a tag.
over,
They didn't put
apparently.
anybody
Yeah.
over. According to Tony Khan, he's proud of this. Oh, Sting was 30-0 in AEW, guys. I took care of Sting. It's like you got nothing out of Sting. You
Even
just
the
maybe
Undertaker put somebody over at
yeah.
WrestleMania. He was what, like
He
15
put
and
over.
0.
He was 21. he won 21 matches in a row when he put over Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania,
Yeah.
and he wasn't too happy to do it either. It was like, this is what Vince wants, so okay, I'll do it. But he didn't really
Brock
want
Lesnar
to
is
put
a piece of shit.
he didn't want
Fuck
to put
Brock
over Brock.
Lesnar. I hope he never comes back, that piece of shit. He's
Yeah,
probably a pedophile too.
he didn't want to put over Brock. But it's like, well, Vince, this is what Vince wants, and I can't convince him otherwise. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to put over, I think it was Roman Reigns, because he did eventually at WrestleMania, but yeah, I mean, so Undertaker can put someone over, and Tony Khan is like, Sting was 30-0. I took care of Sting. Yeah, but he got nothing out of it
Yeah.
because he didn't put over any young talent. He didn't put over any future young talent. I would have had Sting versus Wardlow, Sting versus Powerhouse Hobbs, and have Sting, do the job for them and make like,
Mhm.
hey, they beat Sting, they must be good. Instead, he got nothing out of him. He just used them for 3 years. They
And it
drew
kind of
one
sounds
house.
like WCW when he did the same thing around Starrcade '97 when Hogan had said to Bischoff, "Hey, I don't think this guy's ready to wrestle," because he wasn't. He didn't look like anything like Sting. He
Is
was,
like Hogan.
gangly. He looked like he hadn't slept. Oh, he was having personal problems. So buck it up, Buttercup, because I
Yeah,
mean, you got a job to do. It's called wrestling.
Bischoff and Hogan that's the version they're going with now. That Sting didn't look ready to perform, and he was out of it. So Hogan told Bischoff, "Not tonight, brother." It was like, what? But we set up a huge. This is the payoff. Sting's supposed to be the champion, and you're saying not tonight. He had creative control,
Mm-hmm.
so they scrambled and came up with a finish which was ridiculous. Where basically Hogan took 90% of the match and beat Sting 1, 2, 3 clean,
Mm-hmm.
and Bret Hart for no and it's supposed to be a fast count from Nick Patrick. Nick
Right.
Patrick did a normal 1, 2, 3.
One, two,
So,
three.
and according to Sting, he was like Hogan told, or no, it was Nick Patrick. Nick Patrick
Mm-hmm.
did a podcast like years ago where he
Mm-hmm.
said, "Well, a guy that says brother all the time told me keep your count nice and slow, man. Don't He didn't say Hogan's name, but he said a guy that said brother all the time, which everybody knows who that is. So
Which is what Curt said when he said he was talking about, oh, why, how come the West Texas Rednecks only lasted about 3 months? And Curt said, well, someone with blonde hair said, I can't keep up with that brother, or I can't follow that brother. Yeah, because the West Texas Rednecks were actually starting to become over with the, country music crowd.
yeah, and I what was it, 99, 2000? I gave up on WCW by that point, but I recently heard some of the clips and stuff and saw some of the stuff. I'm like, Kurt could sing. He wasn't bad at it. It was like, huh,
We just went
you know,
over that. They sang "Oh Canada." That'll be coming up
yeah,
next week.
yeah,
When I drop on Monday, when I drop my new episode, we actually go over that. Now, the "Oh Canada" singing will be on Rumble because obviously it's copyrighted. So, and I didn't want to copyright strike. Yeah, Rap is
yeah.
Crap. I love Rap is Crap, and I probably will sing it one day with Curt
That
and the
was
West Texas Rednecks on
that was
Rumble.
the feud in Master P.
Yes.
And actually,
Um,
I kind of watched that a little bit because Master P was a big deal at the time, and that, oh my god, they got Master P in WCW. And I watched it. I'm like, did they really think Master P would be the baby face in a Southern Territory? Because WCW is Southern Territory ultimately, so most of the audience was Southern.
right, and that's
So
the thing that they had it backwards. They had baby faces in the South because the West Texas Rednecks were the baby
yeah,
faces.
they
So they had them in the South, and literally Kurt came out and literally got humiliated in front of his. I mean, that's why the crowd's like, "Wait, are we supposed to be seeing this? Why is
yeah
our
he
baby face getting his face smashed into a cake because the heel was Master P?" And
uh,
he's and the fans are confused. They're like, "Wait, our baby face just got humiliated for what?"
for no reason. That
For no reason.
the cake spot is usually reserved for the baby face to get the heel in. Jim
Right.
Cornette told the story when he got his face planted in cake back in
Mhm.
'86 or '87. But the difference is he was the heel when the baby face did that. I think it was Ricky Morton. The fans were like they popped for it. It was like, yes, he got Jim Cornette. So yeah, let's get to this. I can imagine Bill Goldberg in AEW retirement tour, undefeated streak. Worst match with Taker Goldberg Super Showdown in Saudi
I
Arabia. Oh,
never
that
liked
match was
Goldberg.
awful.
Yeah, I never liked
The,
Goldberg.
the
Not even
Super
in
Showdown
WCW.
Saudi match was awful. Like apparently
Was it?
Goldberg he got a concussion like a minute in the match because one he he headbutted his head in a locker again and he got a
But that's what
concussion.
he always did. He always
And
headbutted the lockers.
and he did it and during the match he went head first into the post. So he was even more like out of it. So when he tried to jackhammer Undertaker, he literally dropped him in his back of his head. Like he dropped him on his head because he couldn't do it because he was so discombobulated and out of it that he just dropped him on his head. The match was awful. It was then Taker got a concussion. He couldn't do much either. So it was a disaster.
Just like the Bret Hart thing. I mean, that's why Bret Hart still to this day hates Bill Goldberg, because Bill Goldberg was not a good wrestler. He hurt guys on purpose, or maybe not on purpose, but he was hurting guys, and that's not good. And yet they promoted him and said, "Oh, he's a great wrestler now. Oh, he can wrestle now." Not when he's still hurting guys. No, I never got on the Goldberg bandwagon. I was not much for Goldberg. I hate Goldberg now. I'm not much for Bret. Bret's okay, but I mean, he wasn't perfect. Okay, Bret was great, but he wasn't perfect. No, I take Bret's side on that because that was just absolute rubbish. That match never should have happened. The Curt Hennig match where he had with Goldberg, I think he got hurt too. I don't know if he got a concussion, but I know Curt was probably bruised a bit because when he came at him with the spear, he actually would hit you right in the stomach and knock the wind out of you.
Yeah. Bret Hart complained about it. A lot of guys complained about it. He was just stiff. It wasn't like like the Road Warriors working stiff, you know. It was like good, like literally stiff, you know. And he would just hurt guys, you know. So yeah, he hurt Bret Hart. He ended his career, which Bret Hart is like bitter about it. I don't blame him being bitter. Goldberg's he's bitter. Why is he still bitter? I mean, you know, it's 20 years ago, you know, or longer than that now. But it's like, dude, you ended his career.
He could have ended his career. He had maybe one match after that, and literally he was so concussed that he couldn't concentrate on the match much.
He could have worked. He could have gone on 10, maybe 15 years. Imagine Bret Hart. You know, basically he would have had to go on to TNA because there's no way he wouldn't go work for Vince. Not when WCW closed. So he would have probably gone to TNA and been there. Imagine matches with him and AJ Styles. That would have tore the house down. And so yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get that, and because of fucking Goldberg. But Goldberg literally trained him for 6 weeks at the power plant, and like, oh, he's ready.
Yeah, he's ready. He had 3 fucking moves, and he wrestled for less than 2 minutes.
And somehow they got him over by accident because he had his like 3 or 4 minute match.
Right.
Didn't say nothing. Was mysterious and left. It was like, and the fan, you know, it got him over by accident.
It got him over, and then they kind of got tired of it. I know people were actually booing him, and they had to pipe in that Goldberg chant.
Scott Hall talked about that. It's like, well, he's WCW champion nearly a year, and they were piping in Goldberg because the fans were chanting Goldberg sucks. I heard that.
Goldberg sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't good. Let me see. I remember when Bischoff. I remember this. Bischoff signed Kiss. Yeah, they signed Kiss for like multiple concerts in WCW Nitro, but they had to have a character. Dale Torborg, he played like Demon or some shit. He played some character, and you know, it was awful. They did nothing with it. He's supposed to be a main eventer or something. It's part of the deal with Kiss, but I think Bischoff was fired and the Kiss deal was canceled, and Torborg was used like as a jobber, that character, and then he was fired. But let's see. Kevin also talks about Bill Goldberg and William Regal in WCW. That's
but you had mentioned that one where William Regal said, "I ain't doing this," and he literally tore Goldberg a new one, basically because
allegedly the way the story went, which I told before, was William Regal, or Steven Regal then, but everybody knows him, William Regal. He had a match with Goldberg. And basically he's supposed to put him over like everybody else did. That right after that, Regal was fired from WCW and he ended up in WWE or WWF. But yeah, they had the match, but Regal was like, I don't know. Allegedly, apparently he was high, but at the time he had drug issues. So and he said, "Fuck it, I'm not gonna do what everybody else did." And he wrestled like circles around Goldberg. It was like an
Hmm.
awkward 10-minute match, 12-minute match where Goldberg couldn't do anything.
That's because
Regal
he didn't know
dominated.
how to do anything. He wasn't really trained as a wrestler. And
Regal dominated.
wrestlers like William Regal, who weren't he wasn't second generation, but that's why, like the Curt match, he
Yeah.
made Goldberg look like $1 million. And here you have again where Goldberg literally is hurting people because he literally came at Curt with full force and hit him right in the stomach. And,
Yeah.
Curt said, he was like,
He was, so
and
William
rightfully
Regal,
so.
yeah, William Regal allegedly wrestled circles around Goldberg while on
Mhm.
drugs.
Yeah.
So imagine he was so good that he didn't need to be sober to do that. So it was 10 to 12 minute awkward match. Eventually, William Regal allowed Goldberg to spear, jackhammer 1, 2, 3, but it was awkward. It wasn't a good match. And Eric Bischoff was pissed because he just buried
Well,
his top star, his future top star by William Regal out just wrestling circles around him while on drugs allegedly. So
I
Regal doesn't.
mean, get a new star because it wasn't Goldberg. I mean, Goldberg was over, okay, and then he wasn't.
Yeah, so that was, that story is epic, and I think, let's see. Yeah, so Nia Jackson today's WWE injuring Rhea Ripley, Akari Sane. Yeah, I mean, Nia is there because it's a favor to Rocky.
Hmm.
Because
And she
he's a
sounds like
distant cousin.
she sounds like a man impersonating a woman. The way
Yeah,
she
her
talks,
voice
it
is
sounds
pretty
like she's a
deep.
tranny. And I'm trying to be
And
nice.
and now she's the she's the WWE women's champion.
Right.
Another reason again is because of Rocky. They
Oh, The
had to
Rock,
have,
right.
because Rocky's a member of the board now. He's one, so
Mm.
yeah, so he gets what he wants. His freaking daughter, Ava, is the NXT general manager, even though she's like 21, 22 years old. How does she have credibility to tell wrestlers what to do in storyline is ridiculous. Most of the wrestlers are older than her. Like, why would they
Hmm.
take her seriously? I thought when they hired back William Regal, he'd be the GM again because that's what he did originally before Vince fired him. Vince
Why did
fired
Vince
him,
fire him?
budget cuts during the pandemic.
Oh, jeez.
It's like, well, you're fired, pal. Budget cuts. And then Triple H brought him back, like
Hmm.
briefly, and then Vince fired him again
Oh,
once Triple H
jeez.
was gone because of the heart attack issue. When Hunter was gone for like a year and a half because he nearly
Right.
died because he needed that pacemaker.
But then
So
when Triple H took over again, I think, was it William Regal going to hightail it back to WWE?
there's a story behind that. Tony Khan's mother, Jim Cornette, I mean, and Brian Last talk about this, but at the time, not Jim Cornette, Tony Khan's mother was sick.
Hmm.
She was at the Mayo Clinic, and Tony, oh well, we took her to the Mayo Clinic, and like, okay, we know you're a billionaire, dude, just fuck off. But she was really sick, so William Regal, being the worker that he is, called Tony Khan, is like, hey, my son is in AEW, I mean WWE and NXT, and I would love to spend time with my son. Please let me, as Triple H took over at this point, please let me out of my contract so I can go back to WWE and be with my son. And Tony, the mark that he is like, oh yeah, of course. I'll get you out of your contract so you get back with his son. You
Hmm.
can spend time with your son. So that's how I ended up back in WWE. So
Wouldn't it
being the
be
worker
awesome
that he is,
if Kurt had lived? If we could have had tag team wrestling matches with Kurt and Joe? Wouldn't that have been awesome?
yeah. But I mean, if he were around, it would have maybe Vince would have used him better because it's like, hey, Kurt Hennig, I can use
Yeah.
Kurt Hennig.
Yeah,
So
I can use your dad and you, and it would be like what Curt and Larry when they tag team together in both Portland and AEW. No,
AWA, yeah.
NWA, yeah,
They
because
tagged
they were
together.
tag team partners in both, and that would have been cool for Curt to be with his son Joe.
Yeah. So we got Regal has his son Charlie Dempsey wrestling in TNA. Yeah, Charlie's making appearances in TNA as part of that talent exchange between WWE and TNA. So, what do you guys think of NXT TNA Forbidden Door crossover? It could happen. It definitely could happen with this relationship because Joe Hendry is the number one contender for the NXT title, and he's a TNA wrestler.
I've been seeing him everywhere. I'm like, what? Who is this, and why is he showing up in my X feed?
He's over. That song, he's over. I mean,
I didn't know he
he
had a
looks like
song.
a wrestler at least, but he has kind of a silly gimmick where he just sings to the ring. And literally, his gimmick is if you say his name, he appears.
Kind of
Say
like
his yeah,
Freddy Krueger or Beetlejuice. It's kind of like
yeah,
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice,
yeah.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, and he appears.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. So
Look
and
at
then
it.
and everybody sings the song in NXT. He's over. This is why they came. WWE is kind of like, hey, we can use Joe Hendry every week, but
Mhm.
don't worry, he'll still make appearances in TNA. So TNA, trust us, he'll make appearances, even though he's technically still under contract to TNA. But TNA is like, okay, then what are we gonna do? Let's say, no, 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 you can't use Joe Hendry. It's like, of course, so
Do
like,
you
of
want to go over
course,
to Rumble? Do you want to go to
what?
Rumble?
Oh crap! I don't have anything though for Rumble this week.
Okay, that's fine. We can just
No,
sit
I
here
mean,
and
yeah,
continue to
usually
talk.
I said last week we would, but I have
We can do
nothing
it
because
next week. Because we're going
because
to
I
have
lost.
clips of, well, first of all, it's going to be your birthday, and I get to sing happy birthday to you on
Yeah,
Rumble.
we have to go to Rumble next week. Yeah, and
Um,
we got to review All In and
oh,
Bash at Berlin next week.
brilliant.
Yeah, because
I'm excited.
that's at 1 o'clock. So Bash in Berlin is 1 o'clock, and
I'm going to be watching. Oh my gosh, did I just say that?
uh, Bash in Berlin is at 1 o'clock
Can
Eastern.
you do me a favor though and look up and see if they put any more matches? I know that it's the Rhea
Uh huh.
Ripley and Dominic. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Rhea
they
Ripley
put.
and the Twin Towers. Or what do they call them? Terror Twins. They're calling them the Terror Twins,
Yeah.
which is Rhea Ripley and
Hmm.
Priest, and then they're against Liv Morgan and Dominic. Did they make Solo and Roman Reigns yet?
So no, I don't think they will now because Roman they beat up Roman and he's gone now. So
That
I don't think they're
sucks.
booked for this show. And neither is Braun Breaker because what they did
Oh.
on Raw, what they did on Raw is going to have an Intercontinental Title tournament to decide number one contender, which will take a few weeks. So
Mm.
he's not going to be
Okay, so
used in Bash in Berlin either. So that sucks because,
I
but
was looking
yeah,
forward to seeing Braun Breaker.
yeah, he wasn't used last week either. He just cut promos, a couple of
I
promos,
mean,
and that
he
was
is
it.
a beast, dude. He is a total
Yeah,
beast.
I'm like I'm every week. It's like I'm amazed that he does what he's able to do in the ring, and
Well,
he's still so young.
I know they did make one more match, and that was CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in a strap match.
Yeah, I was gonna
Who do you
mention
got for
that.
this match? Who you got? Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. Who you got? Who you got?
Well, McIntyre won the first one, so Punk has to
Mm-hmm.
win this one,
You think he's
and
gonna get
then
the
they
bracelet back?
I look. I mean, maybe most likely, yeah, but no. If he gets the bracelet back, I'm assuming the feud is over at that point.
Yes,
But
yes.
So I'm assuming if the feud is over, then yeah, he would get that bracelet back at Bash in Berlin. Even though it'd
Mm-hmm.
be 1-1, but I don't know whether CM Punk wants to put over McIntyre again because he would have to win this feud because he's the full time guy.
Right,
So it might be 1-1 and they'll leave it like that. And when Seth Rollins returns, he has to have that match with Bronson Reed because Bronson Reed killed him and took him out.
right.
And then they can do Punk and Seth Rollins probably at Royal Rumble next year. Because I'm assuming Punk's gonna go away because he's part time once Bash in Berlin is over, unless he's around every week. I don't know. I assume he's part time, but yeah, it's going to be a strap match. CM Punk has to win this. And there's one. They added one more match. It's the women's tag team title match between the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Bianca and Jade Cargill.
Yeah,
Those two
that
have
I
been mid.
skipped. I'm
Those two have
sorry,
been.
I skipped it.
Yeah, those two are middling for weeks. Bianca and Jade is like, what? Why are they not
Right? Can
telling
one
that
turn on
story?
the other?
Not
Ridiculous.
yet. They should. That's the story they're gonna eventually do. But they've been middling for weeks. They've done nothing with them. Like, what the hell? Why? First of all, why take the women's tag team titles off of them? That was like the main part of the story. And then they did nothing with them. They're kind of just there. And I was like, what? Why? I thought Jade Cargill was supposed to be. They were going to make her into this big star, but she's been middling with Bianca. I'm guessing they realize she's not really ready, so they kind of keep, they she's at the performance center still working because they did nothing with them. And now I think they're going to win the women's tag team titles back. They have to because
Hmm.
that feud has to, build up. But
I can't
but
wait for. There's two things I'm looking forward to. One is the. Did they do any? Are they going to have any matches with Cody? Did Cody get anybody
Cody's
yet?
booked against Kevin Owens for the WWE
Oh, that's
Championship.
right, Kevin Owens. Okay, I'm picking Cody because that just seems. It seems like they're going to turn Owens heel anyway, but I don't think he's going to get the belt.
Yeah. No, no. Cody's going to be kind of there just for a few months. He's going to be middling
Hmm.
because they're waiting for The Rock to return for that big title match at WrestleMania next year.
Yeah, I just figured that maybe they would have the. Maybe they're waiting. So maybe they're waiting for what's in September? War Games, I guess, whatever.
No, September is. I know Bad Blood is in October. They're bringing back that old pay per view in
Hmm.
Atlanta, which is Cody's hometown. So Cody's going to be the main event, obviously, and he's still got to be champion for that. So Kevin's going to keep that belt, or Cody's going to keep that belt, but he has to keep it for that big match with The Rock because if you
Hmm.
after WrestleMania, Rocky was like, "When I come back, me and you are going to go 1-on-1 for that
Hmm.
belt." So basically, giving away that Cody's going to be champion at least a year.
The other one I'm looking forward to is the Randy Orton Gunther thing, but I think that.
Who are these PA Indy?
Hey,
But
Andy.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry I interrupted.
No, that's fine. I just was saying I'm really looking forward to the Gunther Randy Orton, though I think Randy Orton's not going to be champ. I think Gunther takes it.
No, no, there's
But
no way.
him and Kaiser, oh my goodness! I mean, talk about a good a feud that they're having with Randy Orton.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago, or not 2 weeks ago, a week ago, he was saying how Randy Orton was a screw up and everything, and he's like, "Hey, I
yeah,
got a hot wife to go home to. I got 5 kids." I'm like, "Wait, you have 5 kids?"
yeah.
He only had like one or two.
He has a few kids. He has 2 or 3 kids with his first wife, and they divorced. And he has like a couple kids now with his new wife, who
Okay.
apparently, yeah. So that's why he has 5 kids. But yeah, I mean, it's that's going to be a good match. Gunther has to go over, and I'm assuming Gunther's going to go on last because it's Germany, So Cody and Kevin is kind of just there, Cody's going to retain, so Gunther has to go on last. There's only 5 matches booked so far. There's still another week of Raw and SmackDown left, but
Well, I know when we checked the last week, it was only three. What are the other two? Is the Jane Cargill and the
yeah, they
uh,
added CM Punk and
CM
McIntyre
Punk
for the
and
strap match,
McIntyre.
and they added the Cargill Bianca tag team title match. So that's only 2 matches they've added.
Yeah, that one I'm not going to care about, but the strap match, I'm going to be glued to
Yeah,
my TV. I'll be like, let's see what happens.
yeah, yeah. So
Good storytelling here. I really like the. I didn't think for a second that it was going to be a strap match, but it's a good. I think it is a good round two for CM
yeah,
Punk and Drew McIntyre. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen, but once, yeah, you're exactly right. And once he gets that bracelet back, it's going to be over for Drew and CM Punk.
Yeah,
But they
they're
have room
gonna.
to grow, and it could be Drew McIntyre going back for the belt once he's done with Punk or whatever.
Yeah. So they already kind of teased that when he came out. I think it was 2 weeks ago. No, it was last week where he came out while Gunther and Randy Orton confronted each other,
Right.
and Drew came out, and before he could say anything, Punk attacked him with
With the
with
strap. I
attacked
mean,
him.
did you
Yeah,
see
and
his
then he
back? They showed
yeah
Drew McIntyre's back. I'm like,
yeah.
ow.
So they said, obviously, that's why I said last week they're probably going to announce the strap match between Punk and McIntyre, which is exactly what they did because they kind of teased it with CM Punk beating him up with the strap. So
He whipped his
yeah,
dog ass.
uh, there's
Ouch.
NXT No Mercy in September 1st, I think it is. In fact,
Okay.
so
Oh, so NXT has the Halloween Havoc, which was
yeah,
always my favorite because they always had like spooky backgrounds in WCW, which was
yeah.
I love that stuff. I'm like, oh, can I have that? Oh, can I have that?
So this
I'm
week
11 years old.
This week is very, wrestling heavy. There's the All In pay per view tomorrow afternoon. There's the Bash in Berlin Saturday afternoon, and Sunday night is they was I just forgot what it's called already. No Mercy. So that's September 1st. It's literally the next day. So
Mhm.
yeah, so it's a big wrestling weekend. How much is All In? I'm curious. The pay per view All In London.
I don't think they sold as many tickets as they did the last time, like in
Uh,
Wembley.
Wembley.
Yeah, they only
Well,
sold about like what 40,000 tickets, I think.
uh, so Wembley, 6 p.m. BST. That's local time in London. So it starts at 6 a.m. Let's see. You can order it in Bleacher Report. You can order it on Thriller TV, The Zone, uh, Tom's. Oh, it's at bars. Okay, so Dave and Buster's. They're gonna air it there, and that's it. So I'm curious to see. Bleach.
Hog
I'm gonna check.
Wild was okay, but Nash had said something about he was afraid that a fight would break out with all those bikers around the rings at Hog Wild.
Well,
Um,
that was an Eric Bischoff thing because
that
Eric
wasn't
Bischoff
Eric Bischoff because
he loved bikes.
he loved motorcycles.
Yeah.
But
So
Nash
it
was always
was
like, we were always kind of scared that these guys would come and beat the shit out of us.
yeah,
You know,
basically it
they
was
wanted to
Eric
beat the shit
Bischoff
out of
wanted
us.
he wanted to migrate in his bike to where was that? Idaho or it was some kind of biker convention or something. They would go to every year and they would put the ring up and have a
Uh,
show there.
South Dakota, I think.
South Dakota, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Bischoff wanted to take his bike up there and be a biker and pretend to be a biker. So that's why they booked us pay per view every year in Idaho or wherever that state is. You
South
said South
Dakota.
Dakota, yeah. So they would have it, and the wrestler they basically would bring in like
Sturgis,
these
South
big.
Dakota.
They would bring in like Sturgis, yeah. They would bring in this big not lockers, but that they were like containers, and they would
Hmm.
turn that into locker rooms.
Yeah.
So the guys didn't even have locker rooms; they were just containers there, and they put up like a set, like a little like phone, like a cheap set to cover it up, and the guys would come out through there. But those pay per views were not good, and it was
Mm,
difficult to look at.
Well, the one the in '97, Hog Wild '97, when it was Curt versus DDP, that
Hmm.
was good. That match was great. In fact, we're gonna watch along to that. Not you and I, but like
Uh huh.
I will watch along to it because it
Yeah.
was such a great match. I mean, they actually let Curt win. um, I just wasn't much for DDP. So, I mean,
Yeah.
but that match was great. It was between Curt and DDP, and I loved it. I love the Hog Wild '97. I
So
don't like the finishing.
this is Bleacher Report. You can order all in starting at 11 a.m. with the pre-show. For the low price of $49.99 USD.
Thanks. I think I'll pass.
You can order this pay per view for the low price of $49.99. I'm like, really? Is that it's ridiculously expensive. I'm just
Yeah,
curious how much it costs
that's okay.
because
I'll just type the highlights.
yeah, you can order it at the low price of $49.99. So yeah, Tony is out of touch. Pay per view
Yeah.
for wrestling is not It's not working. I mean, I don't know
Out of
what his
touch
buy rate is
millionaire.
like. I don't know how much buys he gets, even though I'm sure he claims he gets great buy numbers, but I don't buy it because who's ordering a pay per view other than the AEW supermark? Like, who's gonna spend $50 in today's America on a pay per view?
Mhm.
Because WWE these days you can get it on Peacock for $10 a month or whatever it is, so it's better than the
Yeah, I have it for like $9.53 a month, but I have a special
uh,
deal going on
yeah. So I
that
think
you
the
can get
regular
with Peacock, and literally, I can now I can get any WWE pay per view because, I mean, they have
Mhm.
that relationship um, with
yeah,
Peacock.
yeah. Eventually, I'm assuming that eventually, once the Peacock deal expires, they'll move all the pay per views and stuff to Netflix, which I'm not really a fan of, because they got that big deal with Raw.
Hmm.
Excuse me, over Netflix. So
Kevin, another great point. Yeah, I always, whenever they would go down to that Florida one and they had that pool,
uh,
like they had the ring in the middle of the pool, I was always like, throw
yeah,
him in the pool, throw him in the pool. I went to see wrestlers go into the pool. I thought that was freaking awesome. Can you
yeah.
swim?
Kevin
Can you
Nash went.
swim?
They did that Panama Beach spring break show one year, and Kevin Nash was like, "Well, I mean, I think Bischoff had a spot with the water for some other wrestler in the main
Yep.
event. I think it was Flair. Flair was supposed to go in the pool, but anyway, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were out there, and Scott, of course, was drinking. Kevin Nash wasn't sober either because I think on leading in when they're driving in, they had like multiple beers, both of them,
Hmm.
and I think Nash was driving. He was driving drunk. Cause like, of course, Kevin. Scott never drove because he's always drunk, but but yeah. So they all had these beers. They were already drunk as it was. So Nash and Hall were out there. They did a deal with somebody where I don't remember who. Where Hall got thrown into the pool,
Hall got
and
thrown
he
in. I think Kevin Nash did he's like, you, I'm so glad I'm the Cannonball champion. It was a giant.
yeah.
A giant.
So Hall got thrown in the pool
Yep.
somehow. I don't
Hall
remember
got
who.
thrown in
Whether
the pool. It was
and
by the
Na-
giant.
And Eric Bischoff, yeah, the giant. Eric Bischoff was pissed. He's like, "What are you doing?" I mean, that spot was for Ric Flair. I think he was main eventing the show, and he was supposed to be thrown in the pool. So, and Kevin Nash was like, "Oh no." Eric Bischoff was like, "You're drunk, aren't you?" Like, "No, I'm not drunk." And Nash happened to look up, and there was a girl up there with a like, "What are you drinking?" Tequila Sunrise. Like, "Give it to me." She threw it, and he caught it. Like, "I'm not drunk." He was drunk. He admitted to being drunk. So that's just that. According to Kevin Nash, that's the story, and Bischoff didn't suspend him, even though he suspended Hall because Hall was clearly drunk.
I just love when they threw him in the. Well, like I said, Nash did a cannonball saying he was the cannonball champion of 1998 or something, and then
Yeah,
did a
Nash went in
cannonball
the
into the
pool. You're
pool. And then, yeah, they threw Scott Hall into the pool.
hmm
Actually, if Scott Hall was drunk, he's very lucky he didn't drown. Because if he, for some reason,
hmm
when you're impaired, you don't think about that kind of stuff. But
Well,
um,
Hall got thrown in the pool, and he never really went under. He was more like he just like he was pissed, but he didn't really. I don't think he was like I don't think he was like going to pass out in the pool. So
that's
yeah,
good because I mean that could have really been turned bad right there. It could have
yeah.
been really bad.
WWE doesn't do those spring break shows. It would be interesting if they did, but the issue is, women, young girl, like teenagers and young adults and booze,
I'm
accidents can
surprised that they didn't
happen.
do what DX did, and that was get girls to raise their shirts.
Oh yeah, you seen like Triple H back in the late '90s.
What DX did.
There's footage. I'm not sure. I don't think it ever aired, but there's footage of because it's it was USA. It wasn't
Yeah,
it wasn't pay per view or might it was it a pay per view? I don't remember.
I
But he
remember
got
several like
the
it
girls
blurted
were
out,
doing this.
and girls
Yeah,
were doing that. Yeah,
yeah. So it was like
I ain't that drunk, Hoodie. I ain't that
yeah, it's
drunk.
like they had a 7 second delay, so yeah, they can blur it out, but they had time to blur it out. But holy yeah, I mean, so I think WWE should they do a spring break show? I mean, especially to go on Netflix. I don't know. I mean, it'd be
Um, they could. I mean, I wouldn't watch it because I'm not into titties.
yeah.
I am a girl, so
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
into
they do.
men.
They do spring break shows. That's something that I don't know whether they'll bring back. They're still PG
Hmm.
technically, even though they've been pushing that envelope lately with the commentators calling Dominic a piece of shit and stuff. So they're kind of
Yeah.
pushing that PG that envelope. But when he betrayed
Yeah,
Rhea
I don't
Ripley.
know. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm speculating. I mean, we'll see what they do with.
Yeah, we'll see. It's I think with the whole like pedo thing, I don't. Maybe they shouldn't because
Yeah.
but not like everyone on spring break is under 18. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
that's
mean, these are college kids. These are like 18,
kind of
19,
the
20
issue.
year
I mean,
olds.
that's a risk. Yeah, that's a risk you kind of take it. You're taking WCW took because some of the girls could have been underage and they
Hmm.
really don't know. We can't ID everybody, so it was tough. Let me see if AW added any matches. Yeah, they did. No, did they? Yeah, they did. They had they added there's 11 matches on the card now, where there
11
was 10.
matches.
Yeah, it was 10. So they added Dustin Rhodes, the natural Dustin Rhodes, and Sammy Guevara versus to be announced. Is it to be announced? It pay-per-view is tomorrow, unless there's a surprise team coming in for the for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team title. Like,
Oh, he'll be back. So let me just do some shameless plugs real fast since he kind of disconnected. What we got going up on Curt Hennig was the best. Changed my mind. We have the round 2 with Luger. No, I'm sorry, with DDP, and Curt gets his lip cut here by accident. DDP hit him in the face, and the belt kind of gets him on the lips. You're not allowed to say the word that you're not allowed to say that word. I can't even spell it because it probably wouldn't work anyway. But anyway, we're gonna do that. I have 4 more promos for everybody on Pro Wrestling Talk. We'll be back here next week. I'm going to be on Angel in the afternoon next week. Tomorrow, I'm going to have Angel on my show, which will air in the middle of September. We're going to watch Ray Traylor versus Curt Hennig. I was just doing shameless plugs while you're gone.
yeah, because I'm talking and then all of a sudden I'm not hearing anything from you, and it's like, wait, did I lose connection? Yeah, I did. So I dropped out again. But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, so I'm not sure how much everybody caught, but Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor for no reason. What are you going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Just air it as a husk? Is basically what it is. It's just a husk, and they had a Ring of Honor show here where I live, at the arena here, which is not far from me, and the ticket prices were so ridiculous. Like I can't go to this. It's like
Mm-hmm.
even if I probably would have gone to it if it was cheaper. Yeah, but I didn't know anybody. One and two, it was that show where that moron Dante Martin broke his leg and ankle. It
Oh,
was out for a
geez.
year and a half. It was here. It happened here. I'm like, oh come on, dude. He did a ridiculous spot where he jumped off a ladder, threw a bunch of tables down to the floor from like 20 feet up. Of course, you're gonna break your friggin' leg and ankle. Like, come on. I mean, even with the tables, protecting, you're still gonna break your ankle,
Mm-hmm.
moron. Let's see. Hey, what? Thank you for watching from the UK. Greatly appreciate it. You going to All In? Because All In is going to be out there in your
Yeah,
territory.
out there in your territory where I don't want to say AEW all the time. WWE will be in Germany, so
Yeah. So WWE is going to be in Berlin. AEW is going to be in London. Oh, AEW, they're going to have the Forbidden Door pay per view next year in London.
of course.
They already announced a Forbidden Door next year for London. So it's like everybody, oh my god, it's so exciting! It's going to be in London. I assume it's not going to be at Wembley
No, it's
because
not.
it's not going to be at Wembley because Tony Khan is, even he is like, well, we only sold like at most 50,000 tickets for Wembley when
Too far from you.
last year they sold what? Oh, too far from you. Okay. Well, yeah, last year they sold 80,000, 70,000. This year they're barely going to get to 50,000.
Yeah, I think it
So,
was like 40, 43. Wasn't
yeah,
that the number?
it's anywhere from 40 to 50. The UK government is going to come out with numbers afterwards
Hmm.
because last year Tony Khan claimed, "Oh, we drew 80,000 plus." And the UK government is like, "No, you drew 70." Because they have to keep count for tax reasons.
Hmm.
So the UK government said, "No, you only draw 70. Like you didn't draw 80." And of course, like they were humiliated, but I knew it was a worked attendance number. Vince should do it all the time. Like
Hmm.
WrestleMania 3 drew 93,175. Turned out it was closer to 70, which is still impressive, but
WrestleMania 6,
overdone.
same thing. They said they
Yeah,
had like 96,000 and it was closer to 80.
Vince had the worked attendance numbers all the time. So, and Tony Khan like criticized Vince for that. Oh, well, he would do fake numbers. You did it too.
Yeah,
Like
you did it too.
he So I knew it was a work number. I was like, there's no way this company, which is new, basically draws 80,000 people in London at Wembley. So it was 70, which is still impressive. Like, but yeah, it's like I think Eric Bischoff said it's an outlier because AEW sucks here in the U.S. They can't draw. They can barely draw 2,000 people here in
Hmm.
the U.S., which is their bread and butter of their business. It's the U.S., not Europe.
Right,
So
and look at their numbers. Their numbers are. I mean, every week they seem to have Tony Khan with their little skis, and he's just skiing on
oh,
down with
I
the
didn't know
ratings.
this. Allegedly, Tony Khan nearly bought Wembley for £800 million about
Europe.
5 years ago. I didn't know that. Thank you for informing me of that.
Know that either.
£800 million about 5 years ago. So, what team plays there? I know a football team plays there, football soccer for Americans, but
Uh,
when,
is it
is it?
London's people?
Yeah, I don't remember right now. Is it not Real Madrid? They play in Spain, but it's a famous team. Why am I forgetting who plays there?
I don't know. I asked my son when he plays that soccer game again. He always kicks
Oh
it out of
yeah,
bounds. I'm like, son, you can't kick it out of bounds. That's not how you
yeah.
win. You have to kick it in the other person's goal because he kicks it in his
Wembley
own. I'm like,
Stadium.
you kicked it into your own goal.
Uh,
That's not how it works. I'm like, you're a bad soccer player. He wants to be a baseball player anyway.
Tottenham Hotspur. They play at Wembley. So I don't know what team that is. So yeah. So they play at Wembley, but it's crazy. 90,000 seats just for football. Football soccer is so over in the UK. Hell, I mean Vince only did one show in Wembley, which was SummerSlam '92, and he couldn't
I did
sell it
too,
out.
and he couldn't sell it out, right?
It was like 80,000 or something they drew. So, which is a
Well,
great
look at
number,
how the
actually.
NFL. Go ahead.
Especially in '92 in WW, no club teams play at Wembley as a home stadium. Oh, okay. So it's what it does. It sits there in between events
Yeah, I know.
because there's no events every week there. I'm surprised. I thought a football team played there. But okay, I guess I'm wrong. But
Well, and look at how American football now they're going to spend more time. They're going to go to Germany. I
yeah,
mean, just like WWE, they're going to go to Germany now and play American football. They're going to go back to London. And you literally
yeah.
know you're in London because people are like, wait, this ain't soccer. What the hell is this?
No, it doesn't
What the
make
hell
any
am I
sense.
watching? This ain't soccer. You said there was going to be football here. Well, it is. It's American football.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is what I got. The Spurs, but they don't play there anymore, I guess. But yeah, I mean, WWE is seriously discussing a WrestleMania in London for 2026, apparently, because
Right.
next year's WrestleMania is going to be in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So, but 2026 WrestleMania is still open, so most likely it'll be in London, which is why Tony Khan's kind of running from London now because he's reading the tea leaves. Like if WWE if WrestleMania gets London, if London gets WrestleMania, then forget it.
Forget
Because
it.
they're not. I can't draw Wembley anymore. Because here's the difference: the London local government's willing to pay to get WrestleMania. They're not willing to
Mm-hmm.
pay to get all in. They don't care. In fact, Tony has to pay in order to use Wembley. But I'm sure that WWE isn't going to pay a dime to use Wembley. They're going to get paid to use Wembley. So
Mm-hmm.
Wembley, it's the biggest arena in London. I assume it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
It have 90,000 seats. So they added Dustin Rhodes. Dustin's still working at like 54, 55 years old for
Well, he
the
still
Ring
looks
of.
the part. I mean,
Well, yeah.
He's not like Dusty, who Dusty was a little overweight. So, I mean, Dusty could still go, though. Even in 89, I thought Dusty had a good run.
Well,
In
yeah.
89, 90.
Yeah, he could still go. I'm not saying, but I like when I was a kid though. When I saw Dusty and those polka dots, it was like, oh wow, it's so cool. The nice colors and stuff. Look at the cool like yellow polka dots.
Yep.
So it was like I Dusty and that gimmick kind of reminded me of Adrian Adonis. That over the top, colorful gimmick.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Though, I mean, Adrian was supposed to be larger than life anyway because he comes out and says, "I'm gay," and then he wears a dress to the ring, So,
Yeah, and that's it. It kind of reminded me of that over the top flamboyant type of gimmick that Dusty had with the polka dots, because because
yay!
he was in the NWA, so he was the NWA World Champion. He was a serious like worker, and now he leaves to go to Vince, and all of a sudden he's wearing like these yellow polka dots and dancing to the ring. So it's like
Right. Well,
a
when
lot
he
of
first
people.
he came out in a tie-dye shirt and jeans. So I
Yeah,
think that was before they could say, "Oh, polka dots, yes, let's give Dusty polka dots."
Yeah, Vince was. He hired him. It's like you don't have to worry about booking. You don't have to worry about anything. Just go out there and wrestle. What you're best at, because he was the booker and Crockett for years. So it was like he was tired. He was burnt out. So it's like don't worry
Mhm.
about booking. Go just you wrestle. You do what you do. Oh, here by the way, pal, where are these yellow polka dots?
I like that in '89, November '89, when they did Survivor Series. He goes, "What am I thankful for? My polka dots." I can't do the accent, obviously, but
My
I was
polka
like,
dots.
"Damn, Dusty." Come on,
I can do
Dusty.
the accent. I can do the accent if I hear it. I haven't heard it lately. That's why I can't do it.
Jim
But
Cornette does a really great impression of
yeah,
Dusty.
because he was around Dusty for years. I mean,
Yep.
Dusty was his booker. He's the one that got him over. And
I
him and
miss
the Midnight
Dusty.
Express over. But
Dusty
I've
was so
always
charismatic and
yeah.
so over the top, but yet you just loved him because he was just a great guy.
Yeah, I've always heard mixed stories on whether Dusty liked the polka dots or not. Because some people say yes, some people said no. He thought he was beneath it, but he still did well with it. He still because he was a professional. But I always heard
Right.
mixed stories whether Dusty liked it or not. Actually, liked the polka dots.
I heard a story that Curt didn't like being Mr. Perfect. He wanted to
Really?
do like a cowboy gimmick when they were
Wow.
spitballing and just trying to, because I mean, Curt liked country music. He
Yeah.
liked the cowboy gimmick kind of thing, the cowboy getup.
Yeah.
If you see him in Portland, he has that kind of like a rhinestone jacket kind of thing, like them old
Yeah.
rhinestone cowboys in the 60s.
Uh
Sorry, I'm just trying to get comfortable.
huh. That's fine.
So like the rhinestone, he had like if you ever saw like Jesus, now I can't think of his name. I can see his face, but well, anyway, he was a country singer, and he would always wear those rhinestone kind of, with the tassels and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Curt didn't say anything. He did the Mr. Perfect gimmick very well, but
Yeah.
just some reports is that Curt really didn't like that gimmick. But I mean, he played it so well that he
made his
grew
career.
into it. Yeah,
He's
it made
after that he's always known as Mr. Perfect.
right.
Even though he was in WCW and stuff, it was like that made his career. And because Terry Taylor always claimed that he's supposed to be Mr. Perfect originally. Instead,
You see, I don't know where that rumor came from because they weren't
yeah,
spitballing it with Terry; they were spitballing it with Curt. So, yeah, I saw that on X one time. They're like, "Yeah, well, Terry Taylor was supposed to be Mr. Perfect." I'm like, then why didn't he get the gimmick? I mean,
yeah, he got
they
Yeah,
took
it's
Curt into a room and said, "Curt, what are you good at?" Because he said, "Well, how about a cowboy gimmick?" And Vince kind of rolled his eyes and said, "We got enough cowboy gimmicks."
yeah, we got.
So they said, "Well, and what
What are you
happened
good
was,
at?
yeah." Vince said, "What are you good at?" And Curt said, "Pretty much anything, everything."
Huh?
And
Really?
it was Pat Patterson that says, "What sounds like you're Mr. Perfect."
Perfect, right? It's like,
Yeah, it sounds like you're
oh,
perfect.
oh. And they'd
And
be
Vince
like,
goes, "Yes,"
yeah,
or somebody said yes.
uh-huh. It must have been Vince because he was he did everything, especially in the in the late '80s, early '90s. Like he was in on everything. So it was like he must have been him that approved the Mr. Perfect gimmick. And then they
Right.
did the vignettes, which were some of the best
Yeah.
vignettes to like like
I mean,
and
I love the bloopers though.
uh-huh.
He does the golfing one and he just goes right by the hole. You're like, oh, son of a bitch. You
Yeah,
missed.
apparently they had to film that over and over again. They got so many takes he couldn't get it in. So
Yeah, and I've heard that rumor too, or it probably wasn't a rumor, but it's Bruce said that they actually had to tell Curt that they weren't filming so that they could actually get him to I mean, I would be
uh-huh.
nervous too. I'd be like, Shh, okay, somebody's watching me. I'm really nervous. Can I
This
do
is
this?
this is the gimmick. It's my big break in
Yeah.
WWF. So it's like he was nervous and he couldn't
Yeah,
do it. So
I
it's
was, understandably nervous. I like the baseball one. He kind of hits the bat against his foot and goes, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, no. Oh, poor Curt forgot what he was going to say.
yeah, it wasn't. It's his big break. Vince is gonna push him. So it was like yeah, he was nervous, but yeah, I mean it. I don't know where that came. I saw it. Terry Taylor supposed to be Mr. Perfect, like because
They
apparently
had it on
Terry
X.
was
Yeah, they were saying it on
always
X.
he was a good worker. He could wrestle. Like Curt, which is why he thought he should have gotten it, or he was supposed to get it, and then Vince was like, "Oh no, give it to Curt instead," and they gave Terry the Red Rooster, which he
I
hated.
don't. The thing is, I don't. Unless Vince came out with that, I would say I think
That's
that's
not
probably just
true.
Terry Taylor, you know,
No,
wishing he
bitter.
had the Mr. Perfect gimmick. Because honestly, no offense to Terry Taylor, but I don't think he could have pulled it off as well as Curt did.
He
Because I
wasn't
mean,
anywhere.
Curt could do all that stuff. Not that he could throw his own pass and catch it.
Okay.
That's not
Yeah,
what I
that was
mean.
over the
I mean,
top.
like,
It was, yeah,
I'm
that was
like,
over the
damn,
top.
that's
But
good. But I mean, like, Kurt can hit the ball. Wade Boggs talks about this. If you ever
yeah,
saw the interview with Wade Boggs
yeah,
on his Mr. Perfect, The Life and Times of Mr. Perfect, he was talking about how, he was standing in left field and he's like, okay, I'm going to get ready to catch it. And he goes, and that motherfucker hit a home run.
no catching
I
that.
love it. Yeah, he's like, I'm standing out there going, okay, Curt, let's see what you got. That motherfucker hit a home run the first time. The first time out, he's just like, oh, over the,
yeah. So yeah, Curt was much more charismatic. He's a better athlete. Terry could wrestle, but I don't
And
know
that's
where.
nothing against Terry. I mean, he was a good athlete. I just think that I think he was probably just embellishing a bit because I
Yeah,
mean
and
it's literally Vince and Pat literally took Curt into a room and they were just spitballing gimmicks.
it's like it sounds like you're perfect. It's like, oh, that's it, Mister.
That's
That's
it.
the best way to come up with the gimmicks. I just talk and spitball, and it's like, oh, that's pretty good actually. So, and then that's how we talked about it last week. That's how you came up with the Stone Cold gimmick because his wife
Mhm.
said, don't
Yeah,
let your
drink your
tea
tea
get
before
stone
it gets
cold.
stone cold.
And it's like, that's it. Stone Cold Steve Austin. It
Stone Cold
flows.
Steve
It sounds good.
Austin. Hmm.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he debuts as Stone Cold, and it's like that's the ringmaster, and he looks so much cooler now.
Hmm.
He still hadn't fully shaved his head yet when he debuted as Steve Austin. He was kind of
Right.
balding, so
I like
it,
the when Stone Cold. It was one of the first things he did. He did it with Curt at ringside, and they were literally yelling at each other. I just like Austin's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, whoop your ass, perfect." He's like, "Don't threaten to whoop my ass unless you have whoop my ass, Austin." Oh, I can't even say it. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he's like, you can't say you
He
whip my ass until
unf-
you do, Austin.
did Steve Austin ever wrestle Kurt in WWF? I don't think so. I don't remember that either.
Not till 2002.
Oh, this is when Steve was over and the top
Right.
guy.
This
Yes.
is when Steve was over. But when they first, in 1996, I could probably show this on my show tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
They were he was at the commentating table with Mr. Perfect or Kurt, whatever you want to call him. And he was watching because I guess he had a something coming up with Savio Vega.
Yes,
And,
Austin was feuding with Vega. Yeah, that's his first
right,
big feud when he
right,
became Stone Cold.
right. So whatever that was, and then they're at the commentating table. Don't say you kicked my ass unless you've done it, Austin. I just love that. I was like, yes, go Kurt.
I'm pretty sure Vince was in between them, because Vince did play-by-play then. So,
It was JR actually.
oh really? It was JR.
JR's like, perfect. You got a job to do. Sit down.
Yeah.
Because they're like this. They're literally standing there like this. Like, don't say you can kick my ass unless you've done it, Austin.
Yeah, because I always assumed Vince was in play-by-play because he was there. He didn't stop doing it until '97 when he became the heel Mr. McMahon. When he stopped doing
Raw, it, but this was a Superstars.
Vince stopped doing Superstars by '96.
Did he? Okay, because I was gonna say it was JR that got him. Perfect, you got a job to do. Sit down.
Yeah, because Vince was slowing.
I'm gonna tell this guy.
Yeah, Vince was slowing down as the play-by-play guy by '96. He didn't do it as often because I remember him doing it every week, pretty much. Every show he was at the desk, unless it was a pay-per-view, which then he would be, at Gorilla. But yeah, even then he did a WrestleMania, so he did a lot of play-by-play until by '96 he was pretty much out of it, unless it was like a Raw or something. And he started getting more involved and Bret Hart pushed him down.
Because of the Austin versus McMahon feud that had started after that. So after they screwed Bret, after Curt left, after they screwed Bret, and Bret went to WCW, then it was all Austin. So I mean, eventually they just pretty much said, okay, now Vince, you're going to have a feud with Austin. And really, they weren't looking for it. They were kind of like, we'll just kind of, I think it was Austin that kind of came out and was like threatening McMahon, threatening Jim Ross and stuff, and the King, obviously. Because he was having a feud with The Rock. They were exchanging the Intercontinental belt. And then that thing with Austin and McMahon just kind of, they listened to the crowd and like, holy cow, we got something here.
Yeah, because
and that's when Vince went, okay, we got something. Let's keep it rolling here.
Yeah, it was on a Raw. Vince had that jean jacket Raw is War thing on, and he was interviewing Austin, and finally he gave him the first stunner, which popped, the crowd.
Which literally everybody popped.
And then they were like, "Oh wow, we definitely got something here," and they just went with it. Vince eventually stopped doing commentary altogether and became the evil heel Mr. McMahon to oppose Steve Austin.
Well, and what really happened was after the Montreal screw job, according to Jim Cornette, Vince wanted to be a babyface after that.
Yes, he thought he'd be the babyface.
He thought he would be he screwed Bret, and he thought he would be the babyface because, Bret's evil for leaving, but it turned out, oops, he was a heel, so they had to quit things.
Vince was out of touch. He was like, he thought he'd be the babyface because
he thought everyone would cheer him after Bret left.
Yeah, Bret was like, he didn't do the time-honored tradition when putting over Shawn Michaels when he was leaving, and it's like, no, it's like, no, fuck you, you screwed Bret. He's our
Bret. And
hero.
they would chant that, and he would go, "Yes, I did. What are you going to do about it?" Remember, he would come out and say that. In Canada, they still chant, "You screwed Bret. You screwed Bret."
Shawn Michaels can't go
into. I liked it.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels can't go into Canada. Really can't hear without the "You screwed Bret."
I was gonna say they probably still chant that to this day because people have long memories, man.
Bret Hart was like a Canadian hero, so it was like All right,
Yeah.
let's see. Cowboy says, "Are you just on Rumble?" No, she's on YouTube too.
Oh yeah, I'm on YouTube. I just if you go to my Rumble, you get to actually watch along with me in the videos. You actually get to see Curt's promos. You actually get to see Curt's matches on Rumble now because I've decided that I'm literally going to show the videos along. YouTube is only going to get the audio.
Yeah, because
So
you can get away with the copyright
right,
thing on Rumble. They don't really enforce copyright over there, which is
right.
why
Knock
me
on
and
wood,
you are
hopefully they
doing.
don't.
I'm doing your podcast tomorrow, so and we're
Yes,
gonna watch along with wrestling. So and
yes.
that'll. I think
We'll
that
do
won't
four
make a.
promos. So four of Kurt's
Uh,
promos, and then we're gonna watch.
oh
I'm
no,
don't please don't say that.
Vince McMahon's evil mustache. I was never going to be the baby face after my N word. So yeah, the N bomb. So and
Oh no.
he did that at Survivor Series 2002 ish or no 3 4, where it was with Cena. Because Cena was doing the grappler gimmick then, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, what's up? What's up? Blah blah." Like, "Oh, I'm keeping it down." Is like, "Keep it up, my." And he walked off, and Booker T had like tell me he did not say that. He's he just
I mean,
walked like nothing.
I know Vince had a sense of humor, but I mean, because there were parodies where literally they made fun of Vince McMahon in front of his face, to his face.
Yeah, he liked it.
But I mean, it's like
He
Vince, don't say that.
Vin he liked it. He would give material, I think, to Kurt. He like, look, say, make fun of my toupee. He didn't have a toupee, but it looked like it. So like, make fun of my hair, and so he would do it like your toupee, McMahon. It's a bad toupee, blah, blah, blah,
It
It
certainly ain't
was,
perfect.
yeah. So Vince gave that to Kurt. It's like, hey, make fun of my hair, say it's a toupee or something,
Kurt
like
Angle
Vince.
or Kurt Hennig?
Kurt Hennig, I think he was doing commentary. He was doing color with
Oh,
Vince
oh,
then.
oh, 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 oh. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Kurt was, yeah, when he commentated, because like Jesse had mentioned when he was commentating that they gave him a script and said, here, this, you're supposed to read from this. And Jesse goes,
Really?
would someone really give Jesse Ventura a script and tell me what to say?
Yeah.
And they never made him do a script. I'm guessing they did the same with Kurt because
It's just like late '80s. I mean,
yeah,
Vince started coming in with the scripts around that time, and it's like how you gonna get Jesse? Like, oh yeah, of course. I'm gonna learn these lines, and then, but
that's
it
what
wouldn't sound.
Jesse's like. Would Jesse Ventura really say all this? Couldn't I just go out there and just spitball and talk about wrestling because I was a wrestler? Same thing with Kurt. I think Kurt said the
It
same thing
worked.
because I don't think Kurt ever had a script.
It worked because they used to do Saturday night main events, and they
Mm-hmm.
were insanely high rated.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesse got fired because he did Predator, and Vince didn't want him to do Predator. So
Right.
they tried to negotiate a new deal with NBC, and it's like, oh, you don't have Jesse, we're not going to do
We're
Saturday
not
night
going to
main
do
event.
it. Yeah, you bring Jesse back, or we're not going to do it.
And it's like, oh
Vince.
shit, pal. Okay, so he went back to Jesse, and Jesse asked for a ton more money, and it's like Vince had no choice. But then he also signed to do The Running Man, which is another Schwarzenegger
Mm-hmm.
movie he did. And he's like, you have to let me do The Running Man because I already signed the contract. So you can't just say no this time. So
Well, I think that when Kurt was commentating, yeah, he would make fun of, being the heel that he was at the time. He had to make fun of the baby faces. So,
yeah,
also Jesse made fun of McMahon.
yeah.
He would always make fun of McMahon. Oh, McMahon, you're as bad as McMahon. He would say that to Gorilla Monsoon, when they worked together. So, you're just as bad as McMahon.
Yeah,
That
Jesse
kind
and Vince was great. Jesse and Gorilla was great, even
of
better.
really
I
great.
thought
Yeah.
they had more chemistry. Him and Vince had great chemistry. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'll play this next week on my birthday. But Jesse went back in 2009 when they're doing that
Mm-hmm.
guest host thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was his idea, and storyline was his idea for him and Vince to do commentary one more time together in the main event. It was a battle royal. It was stupid, but it was bad. It was
Yeah.
like, but the commentary was great. It was like Vince and Jesse were back in 1987. Like
Hmm.
they got right back into it. It was
Right back
fantastic.
into it as if no time had ever
Yeah,
passed.
yeah. It was no time ever.
I
It
wonder if
was.
that
I'll
would be
show.
the
I'll
same
probably
for
show it
Curt.
next week. Yeah, I'll probably show
Yes,
it
and don't
next week.
forget, I get to sing happy birthday to you.
Yeah, I'll probably show it next week
Me.
when we go to Rumble. But yeah, it's something I need because it was fantastic. It was like 1988. Like they went right back into it. And Vince's voice changed because he had that raspier voice now. Because he would always like, "You're fired," and that voice kind of stayed because
Have you seen him lately?
yeah, he's not looking well.
No,
He,
he looks sickly. I mean, his
he
birthday was what, yesterday?
yeah, it was yesterday. He turned
He turned
79,
79.
and he's not looking well. He looks
Yeah. He
frail.
looks
Like
yeah, he looks very
and
sickly.
and even though Vince did a lot of fucked up shit, and he did, but I have a soft spot for him. I grew up watching him.
Yeah,
I have a tiny
we
little
both
spot.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like even though and he provided a shit ton of entertainment throughout the
Yeah.
80s and 90s into the early 2000s before today he became senile with Vince and he just did random shit for no
And
reason
yeah, he
towards
now is
the
walking
end.
with
But
a cane, and he doesn't
he
look
just
he looks very sickly. Vince does.
yeah, he looks really not good, he's only 79, so he's older. I'm not saying only 79 like, like he's young, but yeah, I mean, he juiced up quite a bit in the 90s because
Hmm.
when he came out with he was like this against Steve Austin, like what the hell
Oh
that
yeah,
St.
and
Valentine's
he
Day
was what, in his
massacre
50s.
match.
He was in his
He was
50s
like
by
yeah, he's late 50s or mid to
yeah.
late 50s and he's coming out like what the fuck? He's bigger he's bigger than most AEW wrestlers today. I mean, he was gigantic. He was like
Yeah, and he was
230.
barely a wrestler.
Yeah,
If anyone doesn't know this, Vince McMahon wanted to be a wrestler, but Vince McMahon Jr. But
Senior didn't
his
let him.
senior didn't want it. He didn't
Yeah.
want that. He
Yeah,
said, "No,
senior
you
didn't
gotta
let
be
him
this."
because promoters, they're not wrestlers. He wanted to be a lawyer or an accountant or something. I'm like, I'm not cut out for any of those things. Vince was in an interview, was like, like I want to be I want to, I want to take over the WWF. And the only reason why Vince Senior sold it was because he had pancreatic cancer and he didn't have much time.
Right, right.
Because
And he died at
even
82, right?
he died in I think it was 84, 85 because
Oh,
by
wasn't
WrestleMania. Yeah, it was later because by WrestleMania 3, Vince tells a story that when he said "Welcome to WrestleMania," like he felt his dad there with him, like he was proud of him.
right.
So that was 87, so he died probably in 85 or 86. So yeah, but even today, pancreatic cancer is like a death sentence. Basically, they can't really cure it. So, but back then, definitely. So
Well, because of certain things, I mean, now we have turbo cancers,
yeah,
thanks to
I
certain
appreciate it. Still
things.
want to come to my office for an interview for
No
real.
thanks. No
Yeah.
thanks, Vince. I think I will skip that. Thanks. I don't want to. I don't want bad things to happen to me, Vince. Thanks.
and even And Vince was like, even if my dad knew what I wanted to do with the company, he never would have sold it to me. Even because he wanted to go national and take out all his
Mhm.
friends, so like take out of Vince Senior's other promoter friends. So it was like no. So Vince Senior didn't allow him to be a wrestler. So by '97, Vince was like, "Well, I can't wrestle. I can't wrestle, Steve. I can't be a wrestler." And I think it was Pat or somebody said, "You own the freaking company. Why don't you just do it?" Because he was thinking like his dad told him no, so he was still in that. So
And I think that Vince came out as a great heel because he had been, a commentator for all these years and learned maybe some from the other wrestlers or older wrestlers. He learned,
Jesse,
hey,
he
um,
had Jesse in his ear. He had Curt
yeah,
Hennig as his color
yeah,
guy. The King was his color guy for years, another great
yeah.
heel. So yeah, and oh no, he's talking to me. I'm definitely not interested.
I
He's
was
talking
talking
to
to
me.
Angel. Oh no, I didn't
Yeah, I'm
know Vince
definitely
went
not.
that way. I didn't know you went that way, Vince.
Well, Vince
Hey, if you
allegedly
want to
is.
bat for the other team, Vince, you just go right
Mhm.
ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, Vince. So Vince did a lot. He turned wrestling into what it was today, but his time passed. And next week, also want to bring up. I forget. I see, there's a lot of stuff I'm remembering. I wanted to bring up this week on Rumble, but I forgot, and I didn't really prepare for it anyways. But I wanted. There's a great documentary on the Ring Boy scandal, which is probably the worst thing Vince ever did.
Yeah.
The worst thing, because he definitely
Even
knew
more than
about
covering up the Jimmy Snuka
Jimmy
thing.
Snuka murdering Nancy Argentino. Yeah, he covered that up.
Yeah, he
And
completely
there's
covered
this
it up.
Jimmy Snuka talks about in his book. He's the one that exposed this. It's like, well, Vince went into the office with the detective and the captain, and he had a
And they
suitcase or a
came out
briefcase.
and
There
came
was
out
no
without the
briefcase,
suitcase, and nothing was ever said about it
and
again. They talked
he
about that
told,
on Dark Side of the Ring.
yeah, and he told Jimmy Snuka, "Don't worry about it. You're not going to hear about this again."
Yeah.
And he never did until 2017 ish, when it finally popped up because of the Dark Side of the Ring and other stuff, investigations, and he was charged.
Mhm.
But he died shortly after stomach cancer, so they couldn't really convict him.
Yeah, they
And he
said
had
that
dementia. He had dementia
he
too.
was not able to serve or not able to go to prison because he was mentally
Getting treatment.
unstable. Yeah, he was
The
still
story
getting
where he
treatment
was
too.
he had dementia and he was getting treatment for stomach cancer.
Yeah.
And this in the city was like, we're not paying for his treatment, so yeah, you're not gonna put him in jail because they had to pay for his treatment at
Hmm.
that point. It's too expensive. So it was like, yeah, I mean, eventually they dismissed the case because he was gonna die anyway. So it's like
Hmm.
we're not gonna waste any money trying him. Yeah, so yeah, Vince did that. The ring boy thing to me is the worst thing he ever did. I mean, he knew what Pat Patterson and Terry Garvin and Mel Phillips, the ring announcer, was doing, and he did nothing to stop it. Because basically, you guys don't know what happened was at the time in the early '90s, they would hire
Allegedly.
teenage they would
Allegedly.
hire teenage boys.
Allegedly.
What is this?
What?
I don't know. Some
Are we
random.
off?
No. Some random message
Oh,
popped up here from Restream. Not interested in that. But
probably a
yeah,
troll.
like I was saying, they would hire teenage boys to set up the rings. They didn't have ring crews like they do today. So
Hmm.
Pat Patterson and Terry Garvin and Mel, they would find teenage boys to set up the ring. And unfortunately, they did a lot of horrible things to them, touched them in inappropriate places, let's say.
Allegedly.
So, allegedly. So, yeah, eventually, one of the kids named Tom Cole sued WWF over this. And this is how this came out. Eventually, Terry Garvin and Mel Phillips were fired. They never were seen in wrestling again. Pat Patterson resigned, but it was brought back a year or two later in secret. Vince brought him back
Hmm.
because him and Pat Patterson were like brothers. They were so close that it was like eventually
Yeah.
Vince brought him
Uh,
back in secret.
yeah, as his well in the office. I mean, because Pat was a head of talent relations, I think, at one
Pat
point,
was
and
Pat
he
was
would
in
help people with
charge.
their gimmicks.
Yeah. He would hand out finishes, and Vince trusted him to book the Royal Rumble. He booked the Royal Rumble for years.
Hmm.
Vince didn't touch the Royal Rumble because he trusted Pat with it, and he did a good job with it for years. Vince says allegedly. Remember?
I said allegedly. I was saying the whole time. But
Yeah,
that's why I say I would not be surprised if it came out tomorrow that Vince was friends with Jeffrey E. That would not surprise me
yeah.
at all.
Well, Vince's name never appears in any Jeffrey E's documents, so the Black Book and stuff. So allegedly, at least because the Black Book has never been released, so we don't know whose names
Right.
are in there.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Oh, oopsie daisy, we accidentally
But
released
we
it.
know
But it
that
won't.
we know
It
that
won't.
RFK Jr. Flied in his plane multiple times to his island. We know Bill Clinton did too. So we
Yep.
know who was on the plane.
Bill
So
Gates.
Bill Gates, but we don't know who's in that black book. So it could be so many other celebrities and politicians and important people who went on his Lolita Express, as he called it.
Al Pacino, I think.
Yeah, there
I
were
think
a
they said Al
lot of.
Pacino.
Yeah, I've heard.
Tom Hanks, I think.
Yeah, a lot of celebrities and politicians flew on his
That's what
plane
I'm
and went to his
saying. All
island.
rich people are peds, so
Uh,
it would not surprise me if it came out
Vince
tomorrow that Vince
Vince
had.
says, "Shh,
Hey,
like shut
no,
up."
I said allegedly. I said allegedly. But it wouldn't
Like,
surprise me if his name showed up in that little black book of Jeffrey Epstein's
as far as
or
I know,
Jeffrey E. Excuse me.
I think Vince was far too busy to enjoy Epstein his private island, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe he made time for it because Vince was involved in everything. He booked the show. He was he was the guy. He made the final decisions on
But he
everything.
also went to extravagant parties. He also had many, many, many mistresses.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, the only reason why you would sleep with Vince McMahon at that point is because of the money.
yeah,
Because it's not
and
like Vince is good looking. No offense
him
to
and
you, Vince.
him and Linda were still married technically, but they I think Linda
In
lives in
name only,
Florida.
yes. It's in
They,
name only.
Linda moved to Florida and now is in Republican Party politics. I mean, she
Yes.
basically, so she's a politician basically, and Vince lives in Connecticut, still doing what he does. So I remember when Vince retired and somebody asked Linda about Vince, and he's like, "Well, Vince needs to figure that out because I'm not involved anymore." They don't even speak probably.
The last thing I saw was on X something about there was a rumor that Linda was saying Vince is not doing very well. But I mean, just look
Yeah, I
at
saw
him. You
that.
can tell he's not.
I
I mean,
saw
she
that.
never said that. That was just a rumor
Yeah, it
that,
turns out she didn't say that,
yeah,
but
she didn't say
yeah,
that. She didn't say anything.
and like, well, Vince is not doing well. And it's like you can see it, and I saw a picture of him with somebody because he had his birthday yesterday,
Hmm.
so he turned 79. So I'm sure he had a birthday party. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. He had a birthday party at a fancy restaurant, and Undertaker, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and a couple other wrestlers went to his birthday party, and people were mad at them, like, why would you go to his birthday party? Look what he did. It's like I'm sure Undertaker knew and Cena and Brock knows about him. They
Yeah,
had Undertaker was there. They were there in '90. The Ring Boy scandal broke like a couple of years after that. So Taker was
yep,
there. So it wasn't like he wasn't there. He didn't know. So, but Vince always denied knowing anything about what was going on with the Ring Boys. But he was in
yes,
on everything.
he was
That's what I
in
don't.
on
You can't
everything.
believe that. And
Allegedly,
Vince went on Phil Donahue's show like 92 ish around that time to defend
hmm,
himself.
to
And
defend himself.
I'm shocked Vince did that show to this day. He never does interviews or media, but he
Well,
went
and
on Phil
remember when he
Donahue's
did that
show.
one interview and they were asking him those questions and he gets up and walks out?
That was Bob Costas, I believe,
Yeah.
because he did the Real Sports.
Yep.
And if Vince and Bob Costas were literally like this, he said, and it's like, I can't be intimidated by Vince McMahon. So he is intimidating, but I had to stay there because I'm a
Mhm.
journalist. Like I could back away. Oh, I'm sorry, Vince. I didn't mean to ask you that. So no, you had
Well,
to
we all
stay
know The
there.
Rock sucks, and The Rock is not a good person, especially what happened with the whole line of thing.
Oh God,
So
yeah.
yeah, I got yelled at from a person on X who says The Rock is a good person. He gives to charities. Yeah,
Doesn't
so
make a
does
good
Bill Gates.
person.
That doesn't make Bill Gates a good person.
I'm sorry, that make a good person because you know why? Those charity donations are tax deductible, so it's convenient. So
Hmm.
you can make those donations. I'm a good person, and I donated millions of dollars to this charity. Meanwhile, he's getting tax cuts for it.
And it
He's
was so
reporting on his
crazy how this
taxes.
person is like literally I give him article after article about how The Rock and Oprah were begging for money from
Yeah,
poor people when they have multi-millions of dollars. He said, oh, that's fake news. And then he turns around and goes, oh, by the way, they actually did give money to them. I was like, oh no, I didn't hear that. Please provide
I'm
me with
sure.
evidence. And then, oh,
Yeah,
that's fake news. They always talk bad about The Rock. But then in the same sentence says, by the way, you still haven't given me evidence that he's a bad person. I went, the article right here
mm-hmm.
literally says he's a bad person.
Yeah, and The Rock, even though and The Rock came back, he's honestly doing the best work of his career with this final boss gimmick he has.
Mm-hmm.
He's over as a heel. Actually, he's not really a heel because when his music hits, he gets that babyface pop, and then
Mm-hmm.
they realize he's opposing Cody, and they started booing him. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yay, Rock! He's here!" Oh well, he's here to oppose Cody. Fuck the Rock. It was like
Yeah,
one of
fuck The
those
Rock.
things.
See,
So
the thing is, that person was a hero worshiper and they hero
yeah,
worship.
The Rock, yeah,
And
the
you
hero
can't
worship.
do that nowadays because all these rich people, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if The Rock came out in the Little Black Book. If it ever does get released, I would not be surprised if The Rock's name was in that book. Because again, you guys got to pay, you got to remember you got to pay to play the game. You're either in the club or you're out. And Jeffrey E. had a lot of blackmail stuff on a lot of these
He
rich
had
people.
allegedly
So
he recorded a lot of these
right.
activities that they would do in his
So guess
mansion.
what? If you like having sex with little people,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? You
He
got
had those
recording
tapes.
and they will blackmail you.
So when they finally arrested him, I remember thinking, how long is it gonna last before somebody offs him?
Yeah, I
Because
said the
he
same
knows too
thing.
much. He
Because
knows
he
too
knows too
much.
much. That's
Yeah.
right. And he inconvenienced rich people, not poor people, rich people.
And it didn't
Bad
take
things
long.
happen to you when you do that. Yeah,
He was in he
I'm
was in
reading
protective
the
custody.
yes, I'm
And
reading the book from Whitney Webb, which is
uh-huh.
One Nation Under Blackmail. I have 1 and 2. I'm actually listening to the audiobooks.
Uh-huh.
So
And the CEO of those charities and our buddies get paid six figures with your money. Yeah,
with
all of
your
them make.
money, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, this
they all make
person
six
literally just
figures.
has hero worship. Oh, it
Hmm.
was because they had the Rock. Something about the Rock running. Would you vote for the Rock if he was running? And I said no, I wouldn't because I don't
No,
know any of his policies, and technically he would be a Republican, right?
he,
And that's when
look.
this person, I said, why do you care what I think? Why I wouldn't vote for the Rock? The Rock is a piece of crap. And they're like, no, he isn't. No, he isn't. I was like, bah, you're a sheep. You're worshiping someone who literally hates your guts.
Yeah, The
But
Rock.
whatever, that's your right.
He's flirted with running for president a couple times. And it's like,
Yeah, he said people told him to run. I went, no, Rock, let's just face it. You want to run.
yeah, he's flirted with it. He's kind of like Trump, who flirted with it for years and never did it until
And then the
2016.
Clintons told him to run.
Yeah,
The Clintons told Trump to run.
that was the story. That was literally literally what happened. Bill Clinton convinced Trump to run to help
Yeah,
Hillary win
right.
because they knew he would get the nomination because he's so bombastic and so that he's
Over
a
the top.
celebrity. So
Yeah,
so
and
he would
he's
get the
literally flipped
nomination.
on every position he's ever had. He's worse than a porn star.
Yeah, he's in the 90s. He was pro Medicare for all. He was pro a lot of things and a lot of progressive things. Today in 2016, he was an outsider and he would say some leftist things, but we all knew he would never do it. And then he accidentally won. He wasn't supposed to win. Like he was,
Hmm.
in fact, he was in negotiations with NBC to do The Apprentice again because they want to
Right,
bring back The Apprentice. I'm sure
but
it's part of the deal. Like run for president, lose, and then get The Apprentice
right,
and make a bunch more money. But he
and
accidentally won.
yeah, he accidentally won because people actually believed his bullshit rhetoric
Yeah.
of, "Oh, I'm going to give everybody Medicare. I'm going to stop all these wars." Look, I understand that sheep are going to be sheep, but let's look at he did lockdowns, which left our children behind because they want obedient workers. They
He
don't
can.
want our kids to think for themselves. Also, during the lockdowns, a lot of small businesses closed up for good. A lot of them black businesses. So this whole bullcrap. Oh, he helped black people. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He also wanted credit for warp speed. He also did the CARES Act, which was the largest upward transfer of wealth in human history. And this is what blows my mind about Jimmy Dore, how he was praising him yesterday. I said, you act like, I mean, Jimmy was in his studio screaming at the camera saying, I can't believe people are falling for this. They're giving
20.
the top 400 wealthiest families in the world $5 trillion. They're giving you shit. They literally
We
shit
got
in your face.
we got a stimulus check of $1,400 or
Right.
whatever, which some people didn't even get because
That some people didn't even get.
yeah. So that's all we got in that bill, and Jimmy was like out of his mind over that at the time, and
At the
I'm
time,
not sure
and now he's
he's forgotten
fawning over
about
that.
this, and all of a sudden, he's not acting like he's naive, like oh my god, Trump may do all this, and this is why I'm praising it right now. I mean, he's hoping against hope that maybe Trump will end the Ukraine war and stuff, and like.
Not going to
He may
happen.
end that war. He may end that war, but he's
But
already
they're going
saber
to,
rattling
yeah,
with
they're trying to
China.
saber rattle with China, with Iran. I mean, he
Yeah.
took out Assalam, what is his name? Amani. That's all I know. I remember Amani, but he was the third general, number 3 general
Suleiman.
in Iran.
It was
What?
Suleiman. General
Soleiman.
Suleiman. Yeah.
Soleiman, yeah. He took him out. He was trying to get a war with Iran. And his administration pulled us out of the Iran deal, and they blamed Biden for that. No, I don't like Biden either, but the facts are facts. Trump pulled us out of the Iran deal. It was not Biden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jimmy sold out. I don't know. I mean, I still like Jimmy, but he's doing those ads now. Like, did you see that Chuck Norris ad that he's doing now? The one
Uh,
with Chuck Norris. The
no.
commercial he does at the end with Chuck Norris, his defense system or something.
Yeah, no,
Like
I haven't seen that.
the gold stuff, and it's obvious now. He blocked me, but I saw everyone shit on Steph. Yeah, because she said it was epic. Trump and RFK Jr. together.
Right, and I get it. Jimmy was saying how, well, at least they're talking about it. Yeah, but Jimmy, they're just talking about it. Talking about it doesn't do anything to it. It literally, yes, you're saying facts, yes, but he also said, oh, well, I never saw the Republicans go after the Democrats. Oh, so you don't remember that Bill Clinton was had a trial for a blowjob. The Republicans went after Bill Clinton for a blowjob.
They put him on trial for getting oral.
I was 12 years old when that happened. So, Jimmy, either you have amnesia or you're just being stupid on purpose.
Yeah.
Literally what they've done is the Democrats now have become the Republicans who are corrupt, and they don't even care if they're corrupt, just like the Republicans did several years ago. They were like, well, we're corrupt, we don't give a fuck. Now the Republicans are like, hey, maybe we should pretend like we care about workers.
Yeah, but there is a kind of a political realignment happening. Because like I've said on X and on my show yesterday, the new base of the Democratic Party is the white upper middle class, wealthy young people, white people, the suburbanites. That's their base now. That was the Republican Party base 20 years ago. That was how George Bush kept winning elections.
Yeah. So why? What that just totally blew my mind. I'm sorry that we got off topic of wrestling, but that just totally blew my mind last night. I was literally screaming at my screen saying, Jimmy, you cannot fall for this shit. Please tell me you're not falling. And then he was like, well, I'm just saying facts. Yes, okay, so stop saying that, they're talking about this. They're just talking about it, Jimmy. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, I saw that. It's like he was like kind of frustrated he's being called out in the chat. He's like, well, I'm just stating facts, And it's
okay, I get it that Harris isn't going to talk about it. Harris ain't going to talk about nothing because she's as corrupt as everybody else.
She's an empty suit.
You're right. But Trump will not do anything. East Palestine still doesn't have clean air and clean water. And I didn't see RFK Jr. cleaning that stuff up either. And he could have done that during the Biden administration. I also didn't see RFK Jr. give Flint, Michigan and other counties around there clean water. So all this bullshit about, he's talking about, environmental stuff. RFK Jr. hasn't done dick. All he's done is taken people to court and gotten some money for some rich people who fucking didn't need it in the first place.
He was an environmental lawyer for years, and he sued people. That's how he made a name for himself doing that. And then what do you do after that? He got the label of being anti-vax, so that he became known for that. Even though he says he's not really anti-vax, he just didn't like the COVID jab.
It showed me that RFK Jr. was nothing but like Bernie Sanders, a sheep herder that would sheep herd people back into the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to sheep herd people back into the Republican Party via Trump. Now that he's endorsed Trump.
Yeah. And people are like, a lot of these partisans on X, like, RFK Jr. didn't help Trump. It didn't matter. Like, there's no polls out. You don't know that. I mean,
he's literally not running in 10 states. He's not on the ballot in 10 states.
He dropped out.
Trump. He said that last night.
Yeah. He literally said, I'm dropping out in all these swing states in order to help President Trump win.
So literally,
kept calling
he's
him
just
president.
shepherding people back into that Republican Party. Exactly what Ron Paul did several years ago. Exactly what Bernie Sanders did several years ago, and into the Democratic Party, and now RFK Jr. Because they're all Zionists. Trump wants
Yeah,
Israel. I mean, they want Gaza gone.
yeah. Trump
That
literally
just tells
said,
me that RFK Jr. agrees with Trump, and Trump agrees with RFK Jr. that they're going to flood Gaza.
yeah, they're
That's all that
going.
shows me.
Trump literally said, "Oh, let Netanyahu finish the job," basically implying that wipe it off the map. Then and they're already discussing building these expensive townhouses in Gaza and having rich Israelis rent buy them or rent them out. So and they're all making money off of it. Um, yeah. By the way, I mentioned the jab. You have to get the jab. I
Yeah,
have
you
my
have to get the
appointment next
jab. You
week.
should be on your 10th
So,
booster, people. So
yeah,
go
I'm
get
getting
it.
my booster next week. So yeah, because we mentioned it. So Blue Moon is all over this. Yeah, I know. I mean, she's been doing a good job with that. RFK wants safe vaxes, spot on cheap with the establishment. Yeah, he got the anti-vax label. I don't know why. I mean,
Because if you
eh,
say
th-
anything against that vaccine, unfortunately, but it is safe and effective, and you should get yours. I'm on my
yeah.
10th booster. But any talk against that narrative, you're going to be called an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, so RFK Jr. endorses Trump. I guarantee you it's going to help Trump a lot. That's my prediction.
Oh yeah,
He'll It's going to help
oh
him
yeah.
because a lot of RFK supporters are going to go for Trump now because they're all in theory RFK was a Democrat for years, so this should go back to the Democrats. But I don't think they
Right.
will. I think they'll go with Trump. Yeah,
Right. And
because
here's the problem though. Now well, not now, but like a few weeks ago, Trump was actually making Harris sound better than she was. Oh, she was for Medicare for all, and she's a communist.
mhm,
And that's bad how? Because capitalism is working so well for us,
Trump
right?
Trump was acting stupid on
Like
purpose.
a heel. He was acting like a
Yeah,
heel. They made him
yeah,
a babyface. Here's a wrestling reference for you. They made him a babyface and made him blade his ear. That's why no one has ever seen his ear when he supposedly was attempt against his life. Bull. He bladed because there was no blood on his ear when he went down with the Secret Service. And then he
yeah.
bladed afterwards and then came back up. Oh, I have blood here. I have blood here. Look, look, look. And
He's a
that's what the
heel.
photo was for.
Yeah, he was.
Guys,
So
I
he's
know a
acting.
wrestling angle when I see one.
Yeah, he's acting stupid on purpose because the theory is, Trump, as soon as Kamala became the nominee, which has already happened, all of
Mhm.
a sudden he's going to come out full guns blazing, like, because yeah, I'm sure you heard he's already like recruited Tulsi Gabbard to help him with his debate with Kamala in September.
Yep.
So all you got to do is show him that tape of Tulsi destroying Kamala and ending her
Mhm.
career, or ending her campaign at least. So
But it was like they were trying to make Trump like they had made him a baby face because he bladed and attempt on his life and stuff. And then they almost like they tried to turn him heel again. Oh,
mm,
Kamala's a communist and she wants to give you health care. That's so awful. It's so evil. No, actually, that kind of sounds awesome, Trump. It's something you said you were going to do in 2016. Oh, guess what? I still don't have health care, Trump.
hell,
I
they
mean, I do,
passed.
but I mean, there's people
Yeah,
out there that are like, and how's
I
that a bad thing, Trump, that I would have health care?
well, we live in blue states, so the Medicaid expansion, if we can get it, but and you have a child, so you would get it anyways. You would get some sort of health care, but yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, I
millions of
have medical
Americans.
assistance.
Yeah, you still don't. You still
But
don't have
they
health
changed
care.
that too now. And now I have to pay a copay. So
Oh
they
wow.
changed that too. So now they're making even the poorest of poor, who literally can't afford health insurance, pay copays. I just got a thing in the mail the other day that I have to pay a copay now
Oh wow.
to go see a doctor. And my son too.
It's like I know it with private insurance. There's always a copay. It's like they're like, what's the point of me giving you money every month if I'm gonna have to pay a copay? Even if it was like,
And a
well, it's $5.
deductible.
Yeah, it's like I give you money in exchange for health care, for health insurance. That way, if something happens, I'm covered. Now they have limits too. It's like, oh yeah, we won't pay more than $150,000 in emergency for emergencies.
Yep.
And it's like millions the hospital bills in an emergency. So
Yep.
you're kind of screwed. Bad cookies is here, Rogue.
Bad
Wow,
cookies.
it's 10:30, and
It
we're
is
still here.
10:30. I didn't want to stop you because you were doing so well.
You don't need health care. In the richest country in the world, just pay your health care out of pocket. That's the
Yeah, tell that
attitude
to
of
a person who
Washington.
ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
Yeah,
Like
that's the
Angel.
attitude of
Angel doesn't have.
Washington.
I'm sure you don't have money for health care.
No. If it wasn't for Medicaid, I wouldn't have health care.
Exactly.
Or New Jersey Family Care is called here, but
Oh, okay. Well, they're gonna call
that's
it
the
something. They
name.
call it a medical assistance.
That's the name in Medicaid here in New Jersey. I live in Ohio. We legalize abortion and weed. I have faith in people. Yes, through
Not
in fact,
politicians.
there's a lot. Before I read, there's a lot of states that have abortion legalization on the ballot this time around, which could help Kamala Harris, but especially in like states like Montana and states, there's a bunch of states that have it on the ballot. So I'm sure that they're going to legalize abortion in a lot of these states. But
But
yeah, I mean,
that's ballot initiatives. What Kit was talking
yeah,
about. And if you
yeah,
are in a state, yes, you need to. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania is not one of those states, or otherwise, I would, do the ballot initiatives, and I would try to get weed legalized here. And again, this is between a woman and her doctor. The government does not need to be in just because you believe in a fake sky daddy.
mm-hmm.
Okay, I believe in a goddess. That doesn't mean
that
she has to
that
tell me my health issues.
that the evangelicals. I mean, they spent 50 years trying to overturn Roe versus Wade, and they did it. They
And
finally
they
did
did
it a
it.
couple of years ago. And Democrats like, oh, it never happened. We don't have to do anything. They won't ever be able to do it. And like, no, they are doing it.
They did
They're
it.
they're electing presidents. They're electing politicians to appoint Supreme. Trump appointed 3 Supreme Court justices, and they all
Yeah.
voted to overturn what Roe.
And
Trump takes
those
credit
people
for it.
were literally the Democrats approved those people
Yeah, they all
that
did.
overturned them. So
But they
it's
try to
all
blame
one
Trump.
big party. It's one big club, guys, and we ain't in it.
They blame Trump, even though they all approved all 3 of those justices.
That's right.
Democrats, oh well, Trump was it's his fault. Oh, who was
No.
president when Roe was overturned? Oh, Joe Biden. It
Oh,
wasn't
Joe
even Trump,
Biden.
and he did nothing. Him and
Those are
Harris
the
did nothing.
those are the sheep.
So, yeah, I mean, we do have to wrap up. It's like 10:30, and I have to use the bathroom. So,
Yes, I have to go
so
to.
I derailed the wrestling talk with cookies. Eh,
Now that's okay. I was talking to Angel before. That's why we were late. We were talking about the whole Jimmy. You broke my heart, Fredo. You
yeah,
broke
we
my heart
spent a lot of
because I mean
time.
I stopped giving to Jimmy his premium service. I stopped giving it to him because I'm like I can't do this anymore, Jimmy. If you're gonna sit here and fawn over Trump like this, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I can't do this.
the ghost of Jesse Ventura got me in. Yeah, so yeah, we do have to wrap up. I mean, any final thoughts? Because next Saturday. Oh, tomorrow I'm doing your podcast. So what,
Yeah,
5:30? You
tomorrow
said.
Angel will be on my podcast that will air probably in the middle of September, so like the 15th
Yeah.
maybe.
So we're doing it tomorrow at 9:30, right? Or not
Right.
9:30. 5:30. You said.
Blessed be
Uh,
John. Yeah, so we're doing that tomorrow 6:30.
Oh,
Tomorrow
6:30. You
6:30.
said.
Yep,
Okay,
6:30
that's.
p.m.
Uh-huh.
And then hopefully we'll be off by 8 because I have to put my son to bed. That's why I'm
Okay.
like, wait, oh shoot, school starts, so I'm like, oh, let's do it at 6:30.
Okay, yeah, 6:30 is fine. But yeah, I'll be doing your show tomorrow, and then Friday is my birthday episode, Angel in the afternoon. So you'll
Which I
be
will be
on.
on. I'll be there.
Alex will be on.
Yep.
Karen, and she said she'll be on because
Yep.
it's my birthday,
Yeah, I'm
and I'm
looking
hoping
forward
to
to it.
get. I'm hoping to get a couple more people, and we'll
Maybe D.
just.
Have you talked to
Yeah, I got
D?
to reach out to him because it's been a while. I mean, he hasn't been on here, hasn't done anything
Right.
for a few months. Because he was remodeling his house, he told me, so he couldn't really do anything. But now it's done, so it's like
Right.
you should bring him back, and maybe one more person. I don't know how many people I can have on at once.
And don't
Restream.
forget, Saturday is Pro Wrestling Talk, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when we go to Rumble for hour 2, I get to sing happy birthday to that man over there.
Yeah,
I
looking
get to
forward
see
to it.
NATO.
But yeah, we'll be reviewing All In and Bash
Yeah.
at Berlin in
And
the
Bash at
first
Berlin,
hour,
which I will be
which
watching.
would be that afternoon. Yeah, so right after that. So yeah, so check us out. Steph's links are down there for both of her shows. Um, make sure you check out Angel in the Afternoon and Pro Wrestling Talk. Join me for my birthdays because that's next to each other. So hang out with me. Um, so Steph's links are down there. Make sure you check her out because she does cool stuff over there. And we'll see you guys next Friday. Same time, same place, same
Next
channels.
Saturday. This is Pro
Oh,
Wrestling
Saturday.
Talk.
Yeah, same time, same place.
Hey, Pro Wrestling Talk fans. Just want to let you know that our outro is AI generated. Again, our outro is AI generated. Please catch us on Pro Wrestling Talk every Saturday at 8 p.m. But just know that times are scheduled to change. Have a great one, guys.
Under neon lights, the bell rings loud. In this dusty barn, there's a rowdy crowd. A small town hero with hopes held high. In the square circle, he's ready to fly. From the school gym days with dreams in tow, he wrestled hard, took every blow. Fell off the ropes, got back in line. Every bump and bruise a badge divine. Ringside glory, tales of fame. In a world where only the tough remain. With sweat and pride he earns his name. Living for the match, it's more than a game. His mama prays and daddy cheers. Through the jeers and all the fears. For every slam and every pin. Under those lights he's out to win. He's got his cowboy boots and his neon tights, ready to brawl on those Saturday nights. With a lariat swing like a country song. In the heart of the fight, he's where he belongs. Ringside glory, tales of fame. In a world where only the tough remain. With sweat and pride he earns his name. Living for the match, it's more than a game. I was safe indeed, you fell again. And that's a wrestle's fate, so the burst is in. Last time his ghost seems to be free. Be my destiny, so I found me. Ringside glory, tales of fame. In a world where only the tough remain. With sweat and pride he earns his name. Living for the match, it's more than a game. Living for the match, it's more than a game. Living for the match, it's more than a game.